10 years before a guy did it on an RM80. Those guys never got nothing, like, because they weren't dating Pink or they weren't someone super famous. You know what I mean? Like, it's like bullshit. It's like complete bullshit. Don't get me wrong. Carey Hart did it in competition. He was the first one. And that was amazing. Like, that time, it was like, whoa, what the heck? But if you had known about the two people that did it before him, would it have been different? You know what I mean? Like, it would have been way different. And, like, it's just crazy to think, like, that there's people that have done that trick before and have just never had any recognition for what they had done. And they were the first people ever to do a backflip.
Buckle up. This is one rip snorter of a Riders Lounge podcast interview with one of Australia's greatest motocross exports, who has completely taken the disciplines of best whip and step up to new levels, and he is clearly not scared to call a spade a bloody shovel. Based out of the USA now, it's Jarryd McNeil. I'm Steve Sommerfeld, your host on this wild ride of all things FMX and whatever nonsense we carry on with here. But actually today, you're going to be educated on the history of freestyle motocross. As the intro goes with Jarryd McNeil, the first ever backflip on a dirt bike was not actually done by Carey Hart. Now, if you're like me and the other 99.999999% of people who definitely followed the narrative of the early 2000s FMX, where Carey Hart at least was the first person to attempt a backflip, and I guess the industry is divided on who actually landed the first backflip. Was it Carey Hart or was it Caleb Wyatt who rode away? Now, while I heard back then the rumours that back in the day someone else had actually done it, I didn't believe it until I saw it, and I never did see it. 20 years later, here we are. Jarryd actually blew me away during the middle of this podcast. I had no idea, and I was really not going to believe him until he sent through a video showing it, which he did. So that completely came out of the blue, and I didn't expect this interview to go that way, but I'll upload the video and you can see for yourself. But the real reason I got Jarryd McNeil on for this interview was I wanted to talk about dirt. I want to talk about moving dirt. And I don't think I've seen any other rider so passionate about machines, excavators, skid steers, dozers, loaders, dumpers, or anything else that can just move tons of dirt and make jumps. I saw it in the flesh when he flew in for a couple of days before Dirt Diggers back in 2019. And he basically spent all of his time working on the jumps with us at that event and not even bothering to get over the jet lag or putting his bike together. He just asked, which machine can I use? And he just helped us build the competition course because we really wanted to go over and beyond and build something that had never been put into freestyle motocross or into a freeride competition. And Jarryd helped us make that happen. And actually, Jarryd's input at the last minute also helped in creating history at that event. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, before we kick off, I do want to thank my partners who have helped to make this Riders Lounge podcast possible and bring these stories to life. And the best way to bring stories to life is while having a nice cold Tannenzäpfler beer from the German brewery Rothaus. Now, as an amateur brewer myself, when I stumbled on the Tannenzäpfler after riding at the German FMX competition, the Flight Club in Biberach, where I received a Tannenzäpfler as the trophy, I was really impressed with that fresh, crisp taste of a Tannenzäpfler beer, and now trying out the alcohol-free version for about the last year now, I'm completely sold, and I'm really enjoying it at any time, really, like right now as I'm editing this podcast episode before I send it out to the world for you to enjoy. So let's get this show on the road. I had a blast catching up with Jarryd. He's one of the nicest guys in the game and who doesn't mind chewing your ear off. And Jarryd's always had heaps of great ideas on how to improve the sport. And I think his passion for making things bigger and better for everyone is almost unrivaled. So there's a whole lot of topics covered in this one, and it easily could have gone on for hours longer. So I really hope you enjoy this new Riders Lounge podcast episode with the guy who, in my mind, throws out the world's biggest whips on the daily and who has a whole bunch of X Games gold medals to back it up. Jarryd McNeil. Nah, let's kick it off because we're going to dribble shit anyway. Actually, what I did just see, maybe it was yesterday, you're doing some knack-knacks with Jeremy McGrath. What's going on there?
Dude, that was sick. Hey, that's like a childhood dream.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's so sick. We were up at Wyvern Ranch, a place I used to live at back in the day, kind of when I was not first here in America, but like the middle part of being here in the US. And it was pretty sick because I hadn't been there for like 3 years, and Twitch and Monster organized like a big free ride, like kind of just a big gathering of riders, just all different walks of riders, motocross, supercross guys, freestylers, free riders. Pretty much there's like 20 plus riders out there. And on Sunday, the rumor was that McGrath was coming out over the weekend, but we weren't, it wasn't 100% sure. He was just on the list. And then on Sunday morning, we all woke up to McGrath pulling in, and it was pretty sick. I mean, it was like, you don't really get to ride with him very often or at all. Not many people get to say they rode with McGrath. So this was actually the second time I rode with him. I rode with him at his ranch down in like San Diego area a few years back for a Thor shoot, which was amazing, but there was no ramps or anything there where we could kind of like really, session down with a bunch of riders. And there was some things being thrown around. We're like, we should do a train with McGrath, everyone should do a knack train. And we went over to him and asked him like, hey, would you be down to hit the 75 ramp with us and do some knack trains and that? And he was like, if somebody can tow me in just to get the, because he hadn't rode a ramp in a while. And he's like, he just wanted to speed check someone to get the speed. And he followed Josh Hill in, and greased it. And then next thing we had 20 of us just doing a line of knack-knacks, one after the other, all different types of knack-knacks. It was pretty sick. So yeah, it was a childhood dream come true for a lot of us.
Man, that is freaking awesome. Yeah, I just saw that 20 riders just knack going for it. I'm like, oh yeah, that actually is a dream. So you killed
cool.
it.
It was so cool to hear him. Like we were talking about it. Me and actually Jimmy Hillsack were talking about it, and we're like, was he the first person to do a knack and all? We're going back and forth about how it became the name knack, and then we're like, we were all just throwing things around like what we thought the reasonings were, and then we actually went up. We were talking to him. We're like, so like, how did the knack like evolve? And he was like, well, BMX trick. Like it was a straight up BMX trick. We used to do it on BMX. Like all the racer guys and all the dirt jumper guys used to do knack-knacks on BMX. So one day we were out riding our dirt bikes. I can't remember who he said he was with, but it was like, let's try a knack on a dirt bike. Like we do it on BMX bikes. Let's try it on a moto. And, and sure enough, it worked. Like obviously it wasn't a full McGrath style knack. It was like kind of like a peg leg knack back then. And then it evolved into what it was or what it is today. And it was cool to hear that. And then he's like, yeah, it's just can backwards. And we're like, no way. Like Jimmy kind of said that to me. He's like, I think it's knack is can backwards. So it's the opposite to a can. And I'd never really thought of it like that. And then it's like in plain sight. It's like right in front of your face when you look at the letters. But he's like, yeah, it's just knack. It's just can backwards, knack. And we're like, no way.
That's so funny. I do remember actually hearing that a long time ago, like maybe, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
at the start of like Freerider MX magazine. But I think actually, I think he did the first one. He might have told you, but it was like 1993, something like that.
Was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if he said the date when we were talking to him or not, but yeah, it's something like that for sure.
it's freaking crazy, man. So there was a whole bunch of guys out there. There's some big names you've already rattled off.
Yeah, there's some massive big names out there. So obviously there's Twitch out there. We had Bierman, Axel, Cole from SD. We had Cole Sealy,
Nice.
Bilko, Tucker, Jimmy Hill, Josh Hill. Man, who else am I forgetting? One of my buddies, Frankie, my buddy Richie. Man, there's some big heavy hitters. Vicky. Man, I'm trying to think of everyone if I've forgotten some, but yeah, there was a lot of us, man. It was Tom Parsons.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Can't forget Tom.
yeah,
Come
can't
on.
forget Tom.
Well, who had the biggest knack then before we move on?
Oh, biggest actor. Of course it was me. No, I'm joking.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, honestly, as far as like the biggest goes, like it's hard to say because like I would say Tom Parsons probably has one of the cooler knacks for sure. Because I mean, honestly, like I used to hook my foot under the shifter to do knacks back in the day until I like started figuring out like the pivot on your peg type one. And I used to look at Tom Parsons, his knacks. I'm like, I just want to do them like Tom does them because he would like kind of whip the bike out and lay it kind of flat, and then he like hangs off it like low, like he's kind of underneath it.
Yeah.
So like honestly, like Tom Parsons is probably one of my favorite knacks to watch. So and like somebody that I tried to like copy. So for the knack. So I would say Tom probably has one of the biggest, most stylish knacks, you know, like getting away from the bike and looking really clean. So he was pretty sweet. But it was just so crazy. Like, you know, my buddy Frankie, he does opposite knacks. So he like knacks not off. He takes his gear shifter foot off and flicks it over the other side. So that's a little bit different. Not he doesn't do a massive, but it's just completely different. Tyler Bierman was doing knacks. I'd never seen him do a knack before, and he did a knack, but he was like super late. Like his leg came over like, you know, super like late at the end of the whip, which was pretty sweet. And then obviously Tucker. I mean, he can't really knack to save his life, but but he was having a go. That was quite funny, like just to see somebody that can do the biggest flip tricks in the world, you know, trying to do a knack, and he was struggling. So it was like, you know, we had a variety of all different knacks. It was pretty sick. Like when you see the train, you can actually just like sit back and look at all the different styles because like nearly everyone is a little bit different, you know?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I've always thought that, like, yeah, you've got guys who are just throwing the biggest stuff and then the most basic trick, the first one you learn. And
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like if you like ask me to do a can, like honestly, like if I go out and try a can, I have to do it one-handed. Like it's like I have to like do that one-handed can because it's like my foot and the area, like, you know, having the cut down seat and being super short, it still doesn't help. So like the movement, like it just sucks to be able to like not be able to do the most basic tricks sometimes. Like they're, you know, a can of being short, just for me getting my foot over is quite hard. So like for me, a double can is way easier. And
yeah.
so you like look at Tucker, it's like he can't do a knack, but he can do a double knack. It's like you kind of like miss those like basic little tricks and just move on so fast and so quick into like just the big stuff. And we sometimes find that stuff's easier, as you would know. It's like it's kind of strange.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I was thinking about, with the can, I'm the same. I'm tall. I'm taller than you are. I
Yep.
still can't do a single can. Like I have to do a double can. I have to lift my foot up because I just can't
Get over.
squeeze. Yeah, I can't squeeze my leg through. I'm like, that is the second trick you learn, and I
Right.
can't do that.
I have
And
to do it with I have to hook my foot under the shifter, like go off like click on the runway. I go from first to second like a foot hook, and I just hold second gear off the
no,
lip, and that's how I have to do a can. Otherwise, my inside foot just wants
no.
like it just wants to come off the foot peg anyway. So it's like I may as well do a double can, you know?
Oh, you are asking for trouble,
Yeah,
man.
it's
Imagine
different.
you've hit a false neutral when you're doing that.
Oh,
Oh, that
don't
would be
say that.
horrible.
I do that on I do that on everything though. Like, you know, my no-handed whips, I'm hooked in my
Yeah,
shifter. My style one-handed knack like
yeah,
that weird thing I do. That's hooked. Uh Third gear when I do no-handed flips, I click third. I used to hold second on flips off the lip, but holding on your foot, like the pressure when you pull back, it just like yanks on the shifter a lot harder, and it kind of makes you flip a little crooked. So now I'll just flip and then click third gear and then take my hands off. But it's like the whole foot hook on your shifter thing is it is a bit weird, but I don't know, it's just something I've done for so long. You know, like the Travis Pastrana recliner, like the
yeah,
1 foot
yeah.
recliner thing, the lazy thing. It's like that's hooked with the shifter as well.
Oh man, I never actually hooked. I
No,
never hooked the gear lever. Nah,
do
I
you got foot
did get.
hook?
I have the foot hook. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
mine's
couldn't
like the
get used to
manual
it.
one. I had to reach down and pull it up. So I got
Mm.
my fingers like right in close to the
Sprocket.
sprocket and the chain, and you're like, ooh,
I had one
yeah.
of them. I got one of them off Kenny Bartram back in the day. One of the original, is it Tom Pages's dude that makes them?
Oh yeah, Seb.
Seb. Yeah, I was about to say that. Seb. I have one of his original ones. I had it back in the day. Actually, I think I gave it to Paul Smith. So
Oh yeah.
that'd be on his bike somewhere, wherever that bike went. But yeah, it was a foot hook that you did the same thing and had like the little bit of a cable coming out of the top with the little piece. I don't know what it was, little piece of metal that was bolted to it, and you just pulled up on it.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I wanted to get one, but then I got mine off of Jose. He was making them down in Spain and
Yep.
worked pretty good. And I mean, that was enough for me. Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of hooks, since we're already on the whole knack-knacks and everything like that, one of my favorite tricks of watching people do it, but doing it myself was the up knack or
Yep.
reverse knack or whatever you'd call it, like where you whip, but then you whip up
Out.
towards the
Yeah. So you
sky
do like a
and knack.
turn down with a knack.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I love that one, but I found so I got a foot hook from Hannes Ackerman to learn seat grab flips, but it's a hook on the brake lever. So
Yep.
you
Yep.
take like the little thing off and
Yeah.
you put this little hook on, and so I
I
could do
remember when
seat
he
grab flips with it, and
I remember
then
when he got that. I remember when Hannes had those. I was like, because I used to hang out with Hannes a fair bit. He's like my
oh yeah.
favorite. Like I wanted to learn German just because of that guy. He's like my favorite German. So it's sick because I remember exactly. I think his had like a little bit of grip tape underneath it, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the
Yeah,
one.
it's like a flat
Yeah.
one with a bit of grip tape on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's super ugly, but it
yeah.
gets the job done, and I
Do you use
used
it?
that. Yeah,
You
I
use
used
that
that
now? Yeah.
for seat grab flips, and then I found to do the up knack was I could do it. Like, I just hooked in, and I could swing as hard as I wanted.
But
I'm
you're
like,
doing the
"Huh."
other leg.
Yes,
You're
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
You're not doing
I'm
a
with
turn
my
down to the left. You're
yeah,
turning
so
down
I
to the left and then putting your gear shifter foot over.
exactly. Yep.
So the opposite. But can you do a knack the other way?
No, I
Huh.
do not. So I only whip in one direction. I can't whip the other way to save myself. Like, no way. Even if we're doing like little transfers to the right, I can't do it. Like,
So the back of your bike goes out to the right, correct?
always. Always.
But then you kick over that way too.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's for an up knack. But if you do
With an up knack, yeah.
but
When
if
I
you
do a normal regular knack, it's
yeah.
like yours. Yeah.
But you do it. Wait, you're saying if you do a normal knack, you do it the other side?
No. I do like normal knack is normal.
But the opposite.
Completely normal.
Wait, off with using your right foot over the bike?
Yeah. Yep.
So then you do
So
your opposite up knack is opposite way.
exactly. Yeah,
So you can
exactly.
do so you do knack knacks both. See, if I do an up knack, I'll turn down to the right and still take my normal knack foot off.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
use so my knack and my up knack, I still use the same foot.
Right. No, I don't.
So you do
because I can't whip the other way.
Yeah, so you opposite the other. Yeah, weird.
Yeah, I never learnt to whip the other way. I tried, and I don't know. My brain can't do it. My body can't do it. I don't know what it is. I still try. Like, I still try on the motocross tracks now. Like, if I can learn to whip the other way, that'll be like my goal until the day I die.
Huh. Might have to teach her.
Somebody's got to teach me, because I've ridden for a long time and ridden with a lot of people, and I still haven't worked it out. But maybe
I think you'll figure it out.
I'm 30. What am I now? 37 this year. I haven't figured it out yet. Like, I don't know. What's your tip? Like, I don't know. I just can't do it.
For me, like, they feel different, opposite whips, but then it's like, I don't know, like turn downs feel different both ways, but I can do them both ways. Whips I can do both ways, but I have a favorite side and a not so favorite side. But my opposite side, I try and still do the same exact movements as if I was doing it my regular way. I just try and like literally copy those movements, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, like I just try and mirror them, basically.
I've tried to mirror them. I've almost crashed every time.
Yeah.
I'm going to get under this. I'm going to look like Jarryd McNeil. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm still coming in sideways to the landing. Fuck.
It's just different with your throttle being different and like feeling different, like the way what feels comfortable to you. It's just like, I don't know, when your bike gets like locked into the steering and stuff like that, it does feel a lot different.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I can tweak it out, and I could fudge a whip that way, but it doesn't look that good, and it certainly doesn't feel that good.
Yeah. It never feels that good. It feels awkward always. For me,
even for you?
Yeah, for whips though, turn downs both ways don't feel weird, but I mean, as weird as they already feel, but like as far as when I do like a seat bounce whip, they both feel like my regular feels comfortable, obviously, and my opposite just feels like not very comfortable. Like it's just a weird feeling.
Man, that's crazy. And then with all of your whips, like you already kind of said now, with knacks and double knacks and one-hand knacks, did you get a no-handed knack once or not?
I've done those before.
You have done a no-handed knack.
Yeah, but they're hard. But like you'd never get like, it'd be like a tucker knack with a no-hander.
Oh man.
It'd be like, like when you see somebody first try a knack and their like knee is at the seat and then their legs like pointing in the air.
That's Tucker behind Jeremy McGrath.
It'd be like that because there's one kid, my buddy Colby from Arizona, who actually does a pretty decent no-handed knack. It's not a massive knack, but it's pretty sweet. Like he does a pretty good job of it. He's the only person I know that can do it like comfortably.
What's his name? Because I think somebody told me about him not long ago.
His name's Colby. What's Colby's last name?
His from what I can see, like he does like maybe clicker flips and a couple other flip tricks as
Honestly,
well.
I don't even
I
know
don't know.
Colby's last name. I should
Yeah.
ask him.
I'll have to little scroll through Instagram and find him later. But
He's
if it's the same
Colby.
guy I think you're talking about, looks like he's definitely a guy to look forward to in the future.
Yeah, Colby 32_1.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came out to my place, learned how to do. I taught him how to do flips in the pit of 75. Well, he'd already
Oh,
done them
nice.
he'd done them in the pit years back, but never to dirt. So he came out the farm and hung out for a while and started doing flips, and now he's killing it. Now he's got super flips, quarter over flips, and all that kind of stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, he's a sick rider. Like he's pretty badass.
that's cool. Oh, well, then I guess
Yeah.
the rumor mill's right. And I can't remember who told me to keep an eye out on him, but
Probably
sounds
would it
like
be Hannah? Josh Hannah probably did. Maybe. No.
maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I mean, he rides with he rides on Freestyle Kings. Goes to lived in
Okay.
China and all that. So,
Oh, right.
yeah, he's a good dude, good crew.
Oh, man. Oh, well, he's got a good teacher then, because I was
Yeah.
actually going to ask, even so, one hand takeoff whip.
Yeah.
That's another one I wanted to find out. Your one hand takeoffing with your foot clicked into second gear then on the run up?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, come on. All right. Whipped seat grab. How the hell do you do that one? And especially on a quarter pipe.
I don't know. Quarter pipe. The whip off the ramp seat grab. It's like basically you just seat bounce it like you're not cranking it like you would if you were doing a proper seat bounce whip, but you kind of like do a kind of like a half-assed whip, and then basically it's really awkward. Honestly, it's like that first part of like a seat grab flip when you're trying to find the grab, and it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and the bike's rotating away from you, super weird, and it's like, I don't know, it's all weird. Like there's a lot going on. That's how that feels. Like your hands come together because you're like whipped out, so the handlebar comes in towards your stomach, so you're trying to like lean back a little bit, trying to grab at the same time while it's whipped out. So it's a pretty awkward one. But then the last part of it's the most awkward part is when you want to come back on. You kind of like get out sideways, whipped out, doing a seat grab, and then you like literally just pull. Like I just pull my whole body over the right side of my handlebar, so it like literally like I'm like a crouched monkey, like over my handlebar to it. So the weight of the bike and where I am, it kind of figures itself back out. Because if I didn't pull myself on the way I did, like it would just not come back, if that makes sense. Like it's
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
to
yeah.
explain, but if I didn't like crouch myself over the bars and like in like this little ball position coming back on, it's like the body position really helps the last part of that trick. It's like it's a super weird trick to come back onto the bike from. I don't know why, but it's really hard actually.
Man,
Yeah.
it looks awkward and not
Yeah.
many guys can do it. And that's why I wanted to ask about that one, because, yeah, you do it on the normal ramp. Then I saw the quarter. I was like, fuck, like that wouldn't feel fun. And it
Nah,
sounds like
I
it
think
doesn't.
a lot of the guys used to like do it like if you do like an off the side seat grab, like off the side seat
Yeah, that's
like
fun.
Hart.
That's a
Right.
fun trick.
So I feel like that trick there is most guys that do a whip seat grab like that, they normally like whip the bike out like a off the side Hart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a bit different. They kind of like your arms are like pushed away from each other. Like the seat arm is out to the left and your right arm that's on the throttle's out to the right. Whereas mine are actually together, if that makes sense. Like my throttle hand and my seat grab hand are actually locked into like closer.
You're pulling in
Yeah,
everything.
you're like pulling in close, which is different. And the bike's like flat, like it's like more like a flatliner kind of. So it's like it's a little bit different than what guys have done in the past with seat grab whips, because there's some gnarly dudes that done that the other style seat grab whip where you would get like almost like a turn down, like a whip spike out sideways more than flat, and then they're like heart attacked out kind of.
Yeah, exactly. I think
I
there's
miss
only Oh,
I'm
yeah?
just sitting in my room here. I'm sitting in the kitchen here, just like got my arms up in the air, just waving around like I'm doing the tricks,
Oh,
trying
man,
to
we,
think about how it's done.
we should have actually kept the video on. Like, I didn't
Oh,
want to do the video, but I should have chucked it on.
I look
See,
like an idiot in here. I'm like, my hands are going everywhere.
yeah, that's why I don't have the video on for these interviews, because like, if you'd see me right now, I'm probably like, I'm kind of doing the same thing, thinking about the trick. I'm like, oh yeah, he's doing this.
I
Oh,
should have
yeah,
gone and
right.
got my little figurine out, just one of my little toy bike riders out, and just started showing and tell. Nah.
Going into grade 1, show and tell, perfect.
Yeah,
Probably still doing that at grade 12.
yeah.
Man,
Or 32
so
or 30 years old. Nah.
well, what's your favorite whip trick then before we move on?
I think probably the flatliner, like just seat bounce, stretched out.
Nice.
Yeah, because it's just like your hands are on the bars, and it's just like you just throw the bike out sideways. I love like looking through my hand, like looking through my I guess like through my hands, like down towards the ground, like when you're stretched out like a Superman. Like
That's
you're just
cool.
like just hanging onto the bike sideways. I think that one feels pretty sick. Or probably my no-handed whip. Those two are probably my favorite two variations for sure. But then again, I love doing my new. It seems like a lot lately, even out free riding in the hills on like hip jumps, I've been able to do that one-handed knack. Like I don't even really have a name for it, but it's where you're basically taking your right leg and your right arm off the bike, and I'm like swinging over.
Oh, that's
Um,
sick.
I
That
think
looks cool.
that one feels really cool, and it seems like a trick you can kind of do on like to kind of like stand out in like little hip jumps and stuff where it's a little bit different, where it's just not a whip every jump.
Man, I wouldn't even be able to do that on a perfect 23, 75-foot ramp. Like that, yeah.
It's weird
I'd,
clicking. It's weird clicking off a dirt hit, like holding your gear off a
oh,
dude.
yeah.
Like I've been out in the hills a lot lately, so like there's a lot of like pre-jump. Like there's a lot of like before the lip on a dirt jump. There's like a lot of like run-up jumps to get to the jump. So like there might be like a little ski jump over like a little valley, and then you like have 50, 60 feet or whatever to get the speed up
Yeah.
for the jump. And so like coming off like a little ski jump, holding up second gear, and like it's some pretty weird stuff to be able to do that trick in the hills. It's quite technical, but it really works.
Man, that's cool. Well,
Mm.
actually, another one that you were up to, you just put some photos and videos up the other day. You were out in the sand dunes like a weekend or two weekends ago.
Yep,
How was that?
that's
Going
pretty
back, putting the paddle
sick.
tire on, and how many hours did you put on your bike there?
I don't know, like I have pretty much rode my 450. It was brand new at the start of. Oh, I must have got it around Feb, end of January, start of Feb. Um,
So
and
only
I've
about a month.
yeah, and I've only rode sand on it. I haven't checked the hours on it, but I've only rode sand on it, like Glamis twice, Dumont, out in the high desert. Like, yeah, pretty much only rode sand on it. I think the first time was at Wyvern the other day. I didn't ride, like actually rode clay on it. So yeah, it's been sick. Like in 10 years of living in the US, and obviously it's what 3 hours to the sand dunes, which is not far from me.
No way.
But I just never get.
Oh,
I never go. I've never really had the chance to go. Like we're always so busy. Not to say that haven't had the chance to go, but at the right time of the year, because obviously in summertime and stuff like that, you don't want to. It gets like 120 degrees out there Fahrenheit. So, um, you're up in the like 40, 45 degree
oh,
Celsius weather, which is ridiculous to be at the sand dunes. So, um, yes, normally when I'm home in that kind of weather around X Games and stuff, and then most of the year we're touring like Europe and or Australia and stuff when the weather is good here to go there. So I kind of miss it a lot, and it was cool to be able to go out there this year. We've had a lot of time, obviously, last year and this year to be able to spend time out in the hills. So trying to take up as much time out there as I can. So paddle tires are super weird. Something like I'm not used to that. Like, I mean, I've grown up in the sand, like a lot of sand riding, racing, motocross. Out in my area, we've got clay and sand where I'm from in Australia. So I grew up riding sand, but I mean, our sand hills where I was from were just really mellow. There was no free riding or anything like that. You could only put like a motocross track on a sand hill in Australia. But out here, it's like massive sand hills, like huge, like 700 feet tall. Looks like they're massive, and you're able to just go fourth, fifth gear pinned off a sand hill and launch to another one, and yeah, it's pretty. There's nothing like it. It's different. It's honestly pretty scary because when you hit like a jump on a motocross track, which is made out of clay, or you hit a free ride jump in the hills, the speed and the jump normally kind of match up. But sand dunes, it's just like everything the bike has on most of the jumps, and you're traveling so fast, but you're only jumping 100 feet. Fifth gear, 100 feet. Where that's weird. Where it's like on a dirt clay jump, it might be third gear.
Yeah.
So
second tap,
yeah, second
may be
tap.
able to get there.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. So that's so different. Like hitting a jump and not traveling quite as far. Like there, obviously, don't get me wrong, there is some big jumps out there where you're traveling far, but some of them you're only jumping 100 feet, and it's like you're fourth, fifth gear off the jump just because it's a different lip. It might be mellow or long, or it might be just different. It's just different. So
yeah, I rode. I probably only rode dunes a couple of times, but we were down. I think it's near Sajuna in South Australia.
yeah,
Did Millicent, Lancelin over in WA,
I've done
and
that.
Esperance over in WA.
That was my
Oh
first
yeah,
place. Yeah, Lancelin was my first ever place I rode dunes, proper dunes.
yeah, same for me too. Yeah, a
Yeah,
long time ago, I rode Lancelin the
crazy.
first time, and I crashed my brains out. Fuck, I didn't know what a soft spot was.
Dude, same thing happened to me. Like, I was just like pinning it across a flat spot, and then the sand just like had an air pocket in it. I just remember going wide open over the bars in like 08, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, I was the same. I think it was '08. I was at Lancelin. We were filming for Homegrown Maniacs,
Yeah.
and there was this fifth gear jump, and I was like, it was kind of like a transfer that we were jumping off the left-hand side of a peaky sand dune and just like transferring down, and just as fast as you wanted to go, you could kind of keep going. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep working my way up the whole height of the sand dune, just get a bit more air and a bit more. And yeah, came in, fifth tapped, sand pocket right at the top, and boom, there goes the bike. Like I just did the biggest bar hop in the world. Like that bike was not going with me. Yeah, that sucks. And they're like, oh yeah, that was just a soft pocket. I'm like, what the fuck is a soft pocket? Like, for fuck's sake, there's sand there. They should be able to hold me. And like, no. Sand doesn't work like that.
It's so different. So
So
different.
what's the difference then? Like, did you find a difference, let's say, from Lancelin in Australia to the sand dunes there in Glamis and Dumont? Like, is the sand different texture, or I don't know, like I watched the videos from America and it just looks like everybody's going so much bigger and the bike isn't sinking in the sand. Like it feels like in Australia, you just...
Did you have a paddle tire on?
The first 2 days, no. The next 3 or 4 days, yes, because I realized I couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be even hard to find in Australia, wouldn't it?
What, a paddle tire?
Yeah.
I knew where to find it. I was too cheap to get it at the start, and then I realized when I was the only one who couldn't jump everything, yeah, I needed to go get one.
Do you know what's crazy? Out here, they sell a paddle tire for like freaking $60.
No way.
Yeah, like you can get a paddle tire off of like Walmart and stuff out here for like $60.
What?
Yeah, it's freaking crazy. Like in Australia, you probably pay $200 or $300 for a paddle.
I don't even know. I can't even
Yeah,
remember how much I paid, but it wasn't $60.
yeah.
That's for sure.
You can get them everywhere over here. Like to hear you say you had a paddle, because like I remember when I went to Lanceland, it was straight just like me with my motocross bike. Like I was racing Wanneroo, and we just went out to Lanceland because it
Nice.
was close by. So it was like we just rode what we had. You know what I mean? Like underpowered on a 250F out there was just what we had. But so I honestly like thinking about Lanceland, like beach sand. I can only just remember it. I was new to it, so I don't think we were sending it. And I was really like, I had to race a national that week, so I didn't. I also had a broken wrist that I shouldn't have been riding with, but I was. So there was a lot going on for that Lanceland trip when I went there. Had a brace on my hand and stuff, and yeah, it wasn't fun. So like, I mean, it was fun because I got to experience the dunes for the first time, but it wasn't fun because of the situation I was in. But honestly, like just going with textures of the dirt. The I felt like Dumont, which is out near Las Vegas, was the first time I'd been to there a couple of weeks ago, and that was like pretty heavy sand. Like it was a lot of fun. Like you could, you'd land off a jump and it wasn't so like soft. Like you wouldn't feel like you were going to go over the bars all the time and stuff like that.
Oh,
And it was
nice.
it was nice. Like it was badass sand. A smaller area. It's not like as big as Glamis because Glamis is just huge. But
Yeah.
but Dumont was really fun. The dunes were sick. You could find a lot of cool jumps there. Glamis is pretty soft. Like you can find really soft spots and like air pocket kind of areas and things like that. There's a lot more people out there, a lot more going on. So like you're not just worrying about the jumps, but you're worrying about side by sides and dune buggies and stuff. So it's a little bit gnarlier, like kind of knowing where you got to be in that and where like have spotters and stuff because there's a lot more people. But the definitely a big like difference in the sand. I felt like between those two places. Yeah, but it was sweet. I mean, the biggest problem we had was the wind. Is just like trying to time it when it's not so windy out there. Like the first afternoon we had at Glamis, a couple of weeks back was really it was a good afternoon ride, but then the next day was just really like just windy and bad. And then the same with Dumont. First day was really sweet in the afternoon, but then the next day was just blown out and windy. So
Uh,
yeah, it's kind of you got to wait for the perfect day and kind of it's good to go there after the wind because the jumps form up and it takes away all like the side by side marks and all these other soft spots and stuff. Like it kind of makes it like clean slate again. So that's when you want to go there after like the wind because it kind of shapes up the lips and makes all the landings and stuff smooth. So you're kind of like fresh marks and it's kind of harder at that point.
oh, man, I wish
So
I had the luxury when I was going to dunes that I
yeah,
could just wait.
yeah,
wait for a good time. We just did it when we could between
yeah,
shows. Like,
yeah,
I remember, yeah, I destroyed my bike because we were riding the dunes in the middle of the week and then traveling to shows on the weekend. So my poor old two-stroke was just fifth gear wedged and then going to a show on the weekend and
yeah.
by the
No,
last one it was like ba ba bang bang brr. Like it was just
yeah, not good.
done. No, it
Yeah.
was done.
Yeah, I just take my 450 out there because it's just a lot more power and it's just easier for me to ride out there. Like most dudes, pick the four stroke. It's like I'd rather do that, flog the four stroke out there than take my good freestyle bike out there. So,
Yeah.
but obviously if you have the choice, right? So
If you had the choice,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, you seem pretty set up over there in the US. Actually, before we move on, my wife did want to say it was great to see you in Germany, last year before, at
Yep.
Red Bull Dirt Diggers. Yeah, you're a great rider, but actually she just watches the McNeil Farm Bros Instagram. That's like the most viewed Instagram page in our house for motorbikes because we're both looking at that one. But yeah, like you are so set up over there. You've got a cow. You've got an Instagram account just for your animals. It's cool.
Yep.
How did you end up over in America? How did it happen? And how did you end up with a pet cow?
Far out, man. I don't even know. I guess I know how I ended up here from riding. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, I guess kind of getting introduced through Bilko and Cam Sinclair earlier in the day to Crusty Demons. So I guess in '08, Crusty Demons were doing like a regional tour. So I got to go do a Shepparton show and a Wagga Wagga show. They were my first ever Krusty shows. Me and Jackson Strong were the Groms on tour, and obviously Jacko had been on tour for a bit, and he was doing all the stops. I was lucky I could get onto a couple of them and kind of show myself. And 2009, I got to do my very first ever tour overseas with Krusty. So we went to New Zealand. That was really awesome, and I was mixing it up between racing supercross and motocross and doing freestyle. So 2010 rolled around, was kind of like on the fence if I was going to race again or what I was going to do, and Nitro Circus started evolving for the live show that year, so kind of got my chance to ride on tour, which was kind of funny because at that same time I was messing around with the backflip and kind of being a little bit of a girl about it and didn't really want to commit to doing it to dirt. And I got put on tour to do a backflip with all my other stuff and couldn't commit to doing the backflip. So Mike Pora told me to kick dust, and so I actually missed the very first Nitro Circus show in Brisbane
no.
because I didn't flip for it, and we were lucky. I was lucky because we were out practicing at a mate's place in the foam pit. Travis was doing tandem flips with some people to put in the show, and I was practicing in the foam pit to do flips. And that was the week leading up to the first Nitro show. And Travis had seen me doing whips and getting pretty cranked and stuff on the 75-foot ramp that was there. And come to the first round, I actually had to sit in the stand and watch the show, which was pretty crazy.
Ooh.
And then the second or third show was at Sydney the following weekend. So Matty Lewis, one of my best mates, replaced my spot, and he actually took the whole group down in a first gear backflip off the 75-foot ramp. And so he was kind of out. He got injured and he was out. Then they brought in Joel Brown for the second show. So there was a Friday show, a Saturday show, and then a Sunday show. So Matty crashed out in the Friday show. Saturday show was Joel Brown replaced Matty. He crashed. And they're like, Saturday night, they're like, Jarryd, if you can pin it to Sydney from Deniliquin, which is like an 8-hour drive, if you can get here by tomorrow and do a show for us tomorrow night, you'll be back on tour. You just have to do whips and your tricks. And I'm like, well, sick. That's pretty sweet.
That's easy. Yeah, right. Sign me up.
Sign me up. Pinned it to Sydney. Me and Dad pinned it to Sydney, got in the show, did it. Then I was back on tour. But the next round was Melbourne. And like, this is a week apart. So think about it. Like, the first week I sat there and watched. The next weekend I got back on tour. The third weekend was Melbourne, my home show. Got back on tour like for that. And I was like doing my whips and doing my thing. And Travis is had a guy from X Games coming back from X Games China. I think that must have been like one of the last ever X Games shows, like China shows that they did back in the day, which you'd probably be familiar with those.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the guy was coming back and he was stopping in and wanted to check out some riders. And Travis is like, "Yo, you need to look at this Jarryd McNeil. Like, look at his whip." And it was kind of my turn down was like my big thing then. And so he'd watched me at the show and that. We finished off the rest of the tour, and July was coming up, and Travis was kind of messaging me back and forth, which, mind you, Travis was my idol. Like, he was my childhood idol. So I got to meet Travis that same year, 2010, for the very first time, which was amazing. But then having him vouch for me 3 weeks later to get to X Games, and then a couple of weeks before X Games, I got a phone call from them and from Travis saying, "Hey, pack your bags, you're coming to America." So like a lot of stuff's happening really quick. In like 3 weeks, I went from like being down in the ditches to being off tour to then being invited to X Games. Literally, probably in a month, went from one extreme to the other, of going from like my dreams and hopes of ever being a professional rider are gone because I didn't flip 75 to, dude, you're coming to America to compete in best whip. I was like, what's going on? Like, this is crazy. Like if Matty Lewis or Joel Brown never crashed, I wouldn't have had my job again. I would not be here in America. I can guarantee that. It's like some weird shit's happened for my career to end up here. But, came to America,
That's crazy. Yeah.
had my 19th birthday on my very first X Games, got a silver medal on my 19th birthday. And, dude, it was like Monster came knocking at my door after that. Sponsors started rolling in. Had a holiday visa at that time, and I was just, like bouncing. I had to, stay over here for, the 90 days or 60 days or whatever it was, and then go back to Australia, spend a couple of weeks at home, and then bounce back. And I had a place to live and a bike over here from Wheel Ride, my old sponsor back in the day, and a truck to get around, and it was pretty sweet. So I guess, dude, I just kept coming back. Like, most Aussies that come over here, racers or freestylers, don't generally they don't normally stay here. They kind of bounce back and forth. And I felt like that wasn't something, if you wanted to live here, you kind of had to just knuckle down and stay here. And that's what I did. I just stayed. I just kept coming back here on the visas, and then moving up and getting better visas, and just staying here and putting in the time and networking and riding and getting sponsors. And it all led to eventually me being able to get ahead in financially and get a property of my own. So I bought a place out here, a 10-acre property out the back of Temecula, an area here where most of the freestylers, especially at that time, there was a massive core group of freestylers. It's kind of a bit smaller than it was back in the day, but got 10 acres. And eventually I met Kelsey. I'd had some previous relationships, and then met Kelsey, and basically she was all about wanting a cow. And I grew up on a dairy farm with 600-700 of the things. So I mean, I always loved cows. Like, they've always been a cool animal. I liked them, but I never really thought of having one as a pet. And she was just like, "I want a Scottish. I'd love to have a Scottish Highlander." And she kind of just sucked me into getting one. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. Now we've got a 9-month-old Scottish Highlander, Mellow, who's pretty badass. We got two pit bulls that I rescued. So Ruger is one of them. He's the one that rides on the dirt bikes with me. And then Luke's like the silent assassin who just runs around and kills rabbits. So yeah, it's it's all evolved, but it's like, this is this is going into my 11th year now of being here. So
Mate,
yeah,
That's incredible. I think we could wrap up the interview now, and we've covered everything. You pretty much covered every question I was going to ask.
In one.
All in one. I didn't even have to think about it. That was
Yeah.
incredible, mate.
I mean, it's just, I like it. It all kind of like loops up into one story because it's like, I can't really, like, it has to be one story almost. Like, it can't be broken up. It's like, just to tell you that story is like, just with getting on tour and off tour and like just the way it kind of leads up. It's just, it's so gnarly. It's like, it's real, but it's unreal, like it's almost
Yeah.
not real. Like, because you imagine being a kid, just as you were, like you would have probably never thought you were going to live in Europe and
No
and
way.
do the things that you've done and the companies that you've worked for and with and um, running a freestyle show and doing all that kind of stuff. It's like being a small town country kid from Australia. It's you can only dream, and it's like so crazy to think how far a lot of us Aussies have gone, a lot of riders have gone, and people you've even met. Like, there's probably so many people you've met in your life that are in other disciplines or other areas of other sports, and you're like, oh man, that person made it up that far. Like, it's just insane.
Exactly. Like how did they do that? And yeah, I'm the same as you. I just
Yeah.
sit back and I'm like, how the hell did I even end up here?
Yeah.
And that whole story you just said, there's so many parts that as you were saying it, I started remembering it. I
Yeah.
remember all of those things that you said. And I guess from my point of view, I was also supposed to be on that Crossy tour in '08. Actually,
Really?
'07. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because Shuey was trying to get me on, and I was riding with Shuey every day. And he's like, all you have to do is land that fucking backflip to dirt. He's like, as soon as, because I had every other upright trick, like
Yeah.
and he's like, just do the backflip and you're on tour.
Because you
And
were like me. You kind of struggled with it for a while, huh?
oh, 6 years from
Yeah.
first time in foam to landing on dirt took me 6 years. Like
Yep.
it's ridiculous. And I remember you doing those first couple of shows, and I was like, "Hey, he's not flipping." And I'm like, "Hey, Shuey, what's going on here?"
It's
And
because I was young though. I was a grom.
yeah,
I was considered like a young grom then.
exactly. And I was like, I was kind of already old back then. And I'm like, oh, far out. And yeah, Shuey just kept saying, just do the flip. And every year, do the flip and you're on the Crusty tour. And I
Yep.
would either bitch out or I'd crash doing something else. I never actually crashed trying the flip. I just never got there.
Isn't it crazy? Hey, you crashed doing all this other stuff, and we were like, I was just like, I flipped the super kicker. I flipped like a chocked up ramp at 55 foot. But like, you can't go to a Krusty show and jump. Everyone else is hitting 75. There's no other small ramp, so it's like you're flipping what everyone else is flipping, or you don't have the job. And it's like, we would go and crash on other tricks, and it's like, imagine if we just crashed on the
If you just
backflip
did it.
and we just
Yeah.
did it. Like, we just like got it out of the way and seen what happened. But then again, you won't take it back. Like, I don't take it back. Like, it took
No.
me a good probably 2 or 3 years. Like, I think '07 was the first time I'd backflipped a big bike in the foam pit off a super kicker. And I didn't '07. So it took me what, '08, '09. So there's 2000 and end of 2009 or start of 2010 was the first time I flipped to dirt or to a sand pile. And so, it was a good 3 years roughly there that I couldn't commit to doing it to dirt, but I could do it in the foam pit, like no problem, off any ramp. Didn't matter. 75 foots, super kicker, didn't matter. I'd do it, but I just couldn't commit to dirt until I put the sand pile with the super kicker. And it just took a long time, but then I don't regret it. Like, it held me
No.
back from tours, it held me back from some shows, but it was like, at the end of the day, I got it done. I've been doing it for 8-9 years now, and because I think
Happy days.
my first 75-foot flip was 2012. So
Mine too.
so '07 to 2010, So 2010 was my first backflip to dirt, but not off 75. And then 2 years later was my first 75. So that's a good 5 years of working on
Yeah.
the backflip, you know?
One stupid trick. And then
Yeah.
there's the other part of that story you were telling about Matty Lewis and Joel Brown. And I remember that as well because I think did Matty Lewis wipe out, it was like Bilko,
Yeah.
Clinton,
Me,
I think,
maybe.
yeah. And I remember he was like hung, drawn, and quartered for that. Like
Yeah.
he was roasted by everyone. And the funny thing was, like, not them, but a little bit later on down the track after I'd worked with Sheeny and Clinton and I was managing them with my other, like with my company, Invert
Yeah.
Management. And then I was looking at Joel Brown because we were always competing against each other. Like he was like my main guy, like the RFD comps, the
Yeah.
underground comps. And I thought, man, Joel, he's got the right attitude. He could be big. So I started managing Joel and I got him into a few events and he was doing really, really well. And Matty Lewis was the fourth guy I was working with. And it's just funny that you're like, yeah, he's my best friend. I'm like,
Yeah.
I do remember all that now.
That's
Like
so
it's
sick.
all just started coming back. And then you finish it off that you're actually a dairy farmer.
Yeah.
So, same thing. We're a dairy farmer. We had a dairy farm up in Queensland. We only had, though, 100 milkers, maybe another 20 or 30 floating around.
Yeah.
How many did you say you had? Like 600 or 700 or
Yeah,
no?
we had almost 700, I think, at one
Holy
stage.
shit.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cows.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
How
a lot
much
of
land
cows.
did you have?
We had 600 acres. Well,
Huh.
that was one farm, but then we had another one was called Chicks. That was another farm that was like about, I'm gonna say 200 or 300 maybe, and then we had another one that was like another 100 or so. But that was we actually leased the third one. That was just to grow hay. The other two properties, one we leased, one we owned, and then the big dairy farm we owned. So the dairy farm was obviously all the like irrigation fields, like green grass where the cows would graze and that. Then the other two farms, one we owned, one we leased, they were just for hay, just to make hay for the cows. So yeah, we had some pretty big farming.
Bloody hell, yeah.
I think my parents were one of the first rotary dairy farms in Victoria. I think back in the day, like one of the original. Yeah. So
you would have had like 50 at a time.
Yeah, we had
thing.
50 cows at a time. They were getting milked on that big spinning rotary.
Out.
Yeah,
Man.
we had a pretty big farm.
When I was a kid, I remember we had like 8 at a time.
Yeah.
Just like full old school. And then I think when I was about 10, I was helping Dad and another bloke. We built the new shed, and I think we had up to 20 at a time then on both sides.
Yeah, like a herringbone or whatever it's called.
Herringbone, that's the one. Exactly. And that took us like 2 hours to milk cows morning and 2 hours in the night. How long did it take you to do 600 or 700?
Dude,
all
honestly,
day.
Like I was young, so like I'm thinking like, 'cause we moved off the farm when I was 10 years old, around 2001 or 2. I was about 10 or 11, must have been. So yeah, I would say it'd be a good 3 or 4 hours for sure of milking, because they were always. But then some cows were on like we would dry them off, and so they might have a good couple hundred that were drying off, and then they put them back.
Okay.
So like they would rotate certain cows. So I would say there'd be a decent 500, 500 plus cows every day being milked.
Man, that's gnarly. Well, there's only one other dairy farmer I know in Australia, and that's old Brad Birch, who's just taken over Showtime, actually.
Dude,
so I'll have to get Birchie on. Yeah, it's cool, huh?
That'd be a cool story too, because it's like, that's crazy, because like one of my buddies, Rigo, was his neighbor.
Oh, Rigo, yeah.
So He like I became best mates with Rigo, and I used to have like I actually when we moved off one of our properties, our Deniliquin house, I gave Rigo my foam pit, so we ended up making a better compound. Like he always had a compound, but we ended up making a bit better compound at his place and stuff, and moving the foam pit and all that there. But Brad Birch was his neighbor, so it was like super small world when I started riding with Birchie, because it was like we had a common mate, like it was pretty, when we'd go on tour or at shows, it was like we had a mutual mate,
Yeah.
which was really sweet. Birchie's he's such a legend. So it's cool to see Gary passing that on and him taking over. Like he's going to do sick.
Yeah, I was pretty. I'm not that I was surprised, but it was just cool to see this week. Yeah,
Yeah, I was pretty
Birchie.
surprised because you never think Gary'd get rid of anything. That guy just
Well,
holds. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like
That's
you'd be
true.
like it gave me a lot more respect for Gary. It's like far out, man. Like that's sick. Like you passed it down to somebody that deserves it, and whether or not he bought it or whatnot, I don't know. But it's like whatever he did, he had to pass it down to Birchie to keep that going, keep the program running, and Gary's going to go do his other stuff. Like that's pretty cool. I'm pretty pumped about that, because Gary could have just closed it down and walked away from it, or whatever. He could have done whatever he wanted. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think if Brad Birch can run Showtime, I think it's called Airtime now. If he can run that like he packs a van, like it'll be just in tip-top shape. I've never seen anybody's van so pristine, everything in its place as I saw Brad Birch. That was frustrating, but something to see. It was a good-looking van.
Yeah, no, he like I've stayed at his house and stuff, and like a lot up in Queensland, and like he's like I wish I was more like him in a way. Like as far as like he's like a businessman that rides almost. Like you wouldn't think it, but he's just everything is organized. Like he knocks out the stuff that he needs to knock out, then he rides. Like you go to his house, it's clean and spotless. It's like all his stuff's in order. He has a routine. Like to me, it seems like he has his shit together.
Yeah. Absolute opposite.
I'd not say that I don't have my shit together, but like, an email might sit there for a little bit before I respond. And it's like, I hate that part.
I know that. I was trying to get you for this.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, so much stuff's going on. I'm just always so excited about riding and like being out doing stuff, and like the stuff that I really should be paying a little more attention to, I'm like kind of put it off. I'm like always just go, go, go. But I did wake up yesterday with a gnarly headache. We had been riding for a few days, so I was pretty cooked. But that wasn't an excuse yesterday. Like I generally was woke up yesterday and I was beat. Like all of us boys woke up yesterday and we were all just like, it was honestly like we were hungover, but we weren't drinking. It was like we were just so burnt out. Like we did all last week. We did some filming with Bad Billy Media, these Aussie guys. So we were out in the dunes, out in the Ritchie Canyon, like out in the hills. So we'd done that. Then we pinned it straight from that, pretty much straight up to Wyvern for 3 days there. And man, we just got home and it was just like, oh my God, like we all woke up just beat, like dehydrated, and yeah. So
no stress at all, man. That's not a problem.
Then this morning I'm like, all right, we've got to do this interview, and I pull out my phone and like the do's and don'ts on the link that you gave me. Yeah, I went on the website and I was like, oh, you can't do it on your phone. I'm like, crap. So then I'm like, all right, I've got to get my laptop out. And I started pulling my laptop out, which I haven't honestly used my laptop in, I'd say, a year.
Right.
Like, I just use my computer in the office, or I use my phone. I just never use my laptop, never. And I'm never I'm not the guy that's down at Starbucks, using my laptop and crap. So, it's like, so I pulled it out and I started going, and then it started asking me for passwords on crap, and I'm like, God, I don't know where any of these are. What ones are they? And then so then I'm like, went to me missus's office and I'm like, hey babe, can I use your laptop? I kind of need it.
Now, I'd love to see you down there
Oh,
sipping on a latte and
oh.
Starbucks on your laptop.
I do
That
love I do love a coffee. I will say that, but Starbucks can eat it.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I don't even hardly drink coffee, but
Yeah,
no,
I love coffee now, but Starbucks coffee's crap anyway. But you got to go down to like those little like mama papa stores. They have like the good coffee normally.
they make it with love.
They do. It's not just some big corporate shenanigans. It's like they take good care and pride in their coffee.
Mate, that's
I
what
do.
it's all about,
I
isn't
do
it?
miss Aussie coffee. That's for sure.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't really drink coffee. That I've probably drank more coffee in the last month than I have had in my entire life, and that's not even an exaggeration.
Really.
I've had to smash it the last month. I'm so tired.
I'm a real sweet tooth. So it's probably going to sound pretty like feminine, but I love vanilla lattes, which sounds really lame, but those things are
Nah, mate.
they're just so good.
Don't worry about that. I'll drink a vanilla latte.
Dude.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right. It's a sweet. It's such a sweet tooth. It just has to be like sweet.
Yeah, honestly, I'll drink it. Actually, Rach came in today with a caramel, caramel and something else. It was awesome.
That'd be
so
pretty nice.
good. Yeah, it was really good. Man, we've gotten way off topic here. I wanted to find out about X Games because you have got one of the biggest X Games medal hauls from anybody and out of any sport. I think it's 9 gold, 3 silver, 3 bronze, if I'm not mistaken.
There's like 15 of them, so that'd be right.
I would be right. There you go. Perfect.
You'd be on the ball. Yeah.
Did you ever think that's possible to start with? And what were you about to say? Sorry.
I'll say it's crazy. We were just talking about that with Twitch and stuff. We did an interview 2 days ago, and like with Monster and that, we're talking about medals, and Twitch is like, oh, you've got 2 more because I think he has 17. He said so. He's like,
you've got heaps of time.
So I was like, I'm kind of glad we haven't had X Games because you haven't been able to take more medals than me. And then I was like, but how many golds have you got? And he's like,
oh.
And then he's like, I've got 5. I said, well, I've got 9. That's pretty funny. It's good shit. But I don't know. The whole X Games medal thing it's crazy. Like obviously growing up as a kid, did you ever think you're going to be in X Games? No, but would it be cool to experience it? Yeah. Would I love to do it one day? Yeah. But I never knew that was going to happen. And the way it happened, it happened that quick that it wasn't even like, I see young kids nowadays are like, invite me to X Games. Look at my whip. Invite me. I deserve an invite. X Games, you should invite this guy. You should, like they like think that they deserve it and that they should be there. And honestly, I never thought that because it happened that quick. I never even expected to go. It was nothing. Like to me, it was never like I wanted, obviously like I was still racing at that time. So like I didn't even really think
wasn't even on your radar.
Yeah, it wasn't even on my radar. I didn't think that freestyle was going to be my thing until I started dabbling in like Krusty and little shows and stuff like that. And then to be like at X Games and now to have 15 X Games medals, it's pretty gnarly. Like, especially like out of all Australian athletes, I have the most medals, there's a BMX rider that is on par, or he's one medal down from me, and it's just gnarly to think that like I've got the most medals out of all Aussie athletes that have been to X Games. I've got the most, and I'm not far off taking over more medals than some Americans have. In my discipline, you know what I mean? In freestyle, but like I'm up there with the top, with the Travis Pastrana, the Jeremy Twitch Stenberg. I've almost got more medals than them. So it's like obviously different disciplines and things like that. I get it, but they're all X Games medals, and it's pretty gnarly. Like I would never have really thought it was going to happen, but it's happened.
Man, it's so crazy, and especially let's say step up for that discipline there, you're competing against the best riders who have ever ridden a dirt bike, like not just freestyle motocross.
Yeah.
That's everyone's in that group there. How high do you think you could actually get on step up? Like from where you are now, what's holding you back from going even higher?
I think right now we've kind of like with the lip that we have and like the jump setup that we have. I mean, the biggest I've gone at X Games, the biggest the pole went to for me was 43, but I was jumping at probably 47, around 47. So I was like that far over the bar when I won. So it's
Yeah.
like, so you're looking at like, you're looking up to like almost a 50-foot mark is possible. It is, but it's depending on the lip, how it's shaped and that, if it's like perfect, if it's soft, if it's hard, if you've got traction or not. Like it all depends. All those things vary so much. So we're kind of at where we're at now. Like I've noticed after like the back-to-back years of winning, like we're at that height, like the 43 mark, the 38 to 45 is kind of where we're at off
Yeah.
that. You know, Renner, that's off a 12-foot lip. So Renner had a record that they pretty much really just lame about it, but it'd be sick if X Games actually let us try and get a record and like hold that record, but it's almost like they don't want us to. Like it's almost like they want to keep it with Renner. I don't know. It's super
No,
weird.
he's the hero,
It's
mate.
super
Don't.
weird. Yeah. So it's like the year that I won 43 in 17, I think it was, that was like I pretty much beat Renner's thing there. Like Brian Deegan was like, "Hey, you need to give like to ESPN." They're like, "Jarryd, you need to go set the bar up at 47 so Jarryd can get the record." Because I would actually had the record off a smaller lip, like a 2 foot small lip, which makes a massive difference in step up with a 2 foot extra lip. You know what I mean? So,
Sure.
but they never built that type of jump. They never built it again. They only built it that one time that Renner got a record off it. Not were they building it for that reason? No, but Renner got a record off of a 14-foot lip. And then after that, they've never built a 14-foot lip again. So
Do you know why?
who would know? Who would know? Who would know why they do a lot of their things? It is crazy. Like honestly, like I love X Games that they gave me the best opportunity ever. It was a child, like it's a dream, like come true, like to have a medal and to have medals. But like, man, I wish they listened to us riders more and like wanted to be more involved with us rather than just using us to make the show. Rather, like if they could use us to help with the show more, I think we could make it more entertaining and things would be better. But um, I don't want to go down that too far, because I don't want to burn my
No.
bridge. But yeah, like there's a lot of things, like a lot of cool things that could happen with that. Like we could, like, there's so many things that I've thought of with how we could make step up go bigger and better. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's like it's people that are invested in it. So getting them together to try and pull the strings on some bigger, better things would be it's not easy anymore. So the sport's definitely changed a lot. So but yeah, it would be. I would love to try and get a record off one. I just think it would have to be. It would have to be. The thing is, you'd have to set a standard. So like, would it have to be off a 14-foot lip now because Renner got it off that? Because you couldn't, like you can't say he has a record on something that's changed. You know what I mean? Like if we're riding a 12-foot lip and he has a record on a 14-foot lip, then he only has a record on a 14-foot lip. He doesn't actually have the record on a standard size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes it kind of weird. Like it's like kind of bullshit. It's like you got a record on something that's never been built again. So none of us get that opportunity to do that, you know?
That's what we need to do then. We need to see 14-footers. That's all
exactly.
I'm hearing. That's all
Exactly.
I've got out of that whole thing is we need 14-foot lifts. Fuck, just
to
build it.
To answer your question, what do you need to do? We need a
14-foot.
lift. Yeah, exactly. So that makes it possible. Yeah, that's
all
really
right.
it.
So that's step up. We've righted the wrongs on step up.
Yeah.
Quarter pipe. Now that's highest air as well, but you haven't done as well on quarter pipe highest air, and you had a pretty nasty crash a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
What's the difference? I mean, you've got the skills, you've got the style, you've got the experience, but then you've got guys like Corey Creed coming in and just smashing that thing. There's Colby, there's Tyler and Axel and whatever else. What's the difference? Like, obviously there's a massive difference. It's a completely different ramp and it's a completely different thing, but have you found maybe your reason as to why you didn't get as high as you did?
100%. I think for me, like, not to say excuses, but this things that I think are different for me is one, none of those guys that are up there have had a bad crash like I did. So in the back of their head, there's nothing.
Everything's sweet.
There's no fear. It's just straight. You know, once you've crashed something, it's in the back of your brain. You know, so none of them guys have actually had a gnarly hospital trip from a quarter pipe when I have. So everyone I'm competing against is already a step ahead as far as mentally with that. You know, because it's funny because when I started quarter pipe, I won Monster Cup quarter pipe big air. That was the first contest we ever had, and I won it. Wasn't easy, but I did win it. And then, you know, I was one of the first people to do a trick on the quarter pipe was Wes Agee, which was a double can. And I was one of the first people to do a proper, like, big trick off it, like a seat grab. So my confidence was amazing. Like, I was doing seat grabs off the big quarter pipe, jumping high, you know, getting up there with the height. And I was on a two-stroke, which held me back a little bit. But after the crash, that honestly just made me step back a little bit. So I dealt with it for a couple of years, just took my two-stroke there just to be in there to have a position to maybe bring my confidence back. And then I moved to the four-stroke, which was a massive confidence booster. So now I'm on the four-stroke, which is a better bike for that contest. I think just the crash was one of them. And then obviously the bike, having the right bike was another one. So now that I've got those two things out of the way, I think I'm feeling a little bit more confident. But then also having three different disciplines, you know, like not too many of them ride three different disciplines, you know, like and do well. So, like, you know, if I'm focused on step up, which is, to me, that's the best event in X Games. It's the most legit event in X Games. Like, every other event's not, to me, it's not that real. Like, Best Whip is starting to figure itself out, but took a long time to figure itself out because it was fake. It was honestly fake. It was about following and things like that. And now people are starting to pay attention to the whip and how big it's going, and they're voting for it, right? So now it's started to feel a bit more legit. But at the end of the day, when you have a step-up bar, you hit it, you're out. You don't hit it, you win. So there's no judges kind of manipulating it. There's no friendships like that. It's like you hit the bar, you're out, you're done. The quarter pipe big air is a little funny because it's a computer system that measures like center mass. So it kind of makes it hard because you're literally measuring the center mass. So that's like, it's not where the highest part of your head or your bike is or the lowest part. It's like literally like the biggest, imagine a black blob flying through the air, and then they find like the dead center of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Quite interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Have you got a different bike from step up to quarter pipe, or are you keeping it the same bike, maybe
I've
just
been
changing the
running,
clickers on suspension?
yeah, just doing the same thing, and honestly, just running the same clickers. Like I honestly haven't, like someone like Corey, who's dedicated to mainly just big air quarter pipe. Like that's his focus, right? Like that's it. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit, like when you have different disciplines, you're putting time into different things. So like his focus is quarter pipe big air. My focus is more step up than best whip. It's okay to like you can jumble two of them, but when you're trying to jumble all three of them over 3 days at X Games, like it's pretty gnarly. Like I don't sleep. I can't at X Games. I don't sleep. I have the worst night's sleep, and it's just my brain at night just ticking. Like about the event. Like I'm just not necessarily nervous, but like I need to win. I need to win. What have I got to do to win? And you start picturing all this stuff. So over 3 days, the last event is normally quarter pipe big air. So by that third day, you just burnt out toast. Like you've either won an event or you've lost an event. So you've kind of taken like you've had a high, you've had a low. It's like it's pretty hard to jumble 3 events over 3 days. So for me, I've just kind of struggled a lot. There's a few different things I've struggled with. And I just haven't put all my focus into that one event. So where I put focus into like step up or best whip. So
Yeah. Man,
yeah.
do you think in all of those sleepless nights, has anything you thought of actually helped you win? Or have you just
Oh,
made yourself tired and
just
you're like, for fuck's
worse.
sake, why?
Yeah,
Yeah,
worse.
exactly.
Yeah, it's worse. Like if I wish like I could go to X Games and like every night I could just be like put to sleep like with a needle or something, because it's just like it's gnarly, man. The like it's so stressful because like think about like I did 4 back-to-back years winning step up. So like the last one I won was the fourth one in a row, and so and it's like the nerves just get gnarlier and gnarlier because now you're defending yourself, so you don't want to lose. Um, Best whip's been okay because I've kind of like learnt to lose now. Like not that I've learnt to lose, but at the start, I lost when I thought I should have won. Then I got to the point
Yep.
where I was winning them and wasn't losing. And now I'm at the point where I'm like still hanging on. So it's like, I don't get me wrong, I've still got a good whip and that. And but sometimes the guys bring their A game and sometimes I'm not the best on that day. So, you have to cop it on the shoulder and be like, you didn't win today. Like, cop it. Like, take it. Like, it is what it is. Like, just fucking take it. It sucks, but you just have to learn to
That's
take it.
it.
And that's where I've got to in getting older in the sport. There's some young kids coming up, but there's some guys of the same age as me that are still killing it. They kind of came into the sport a bit later, so they still kind of feel fresh to it, whereas I'm more of an OG. I started so young in the sport, so it feels like I'm like a veteran, even though I'm not ridiculously old in the sport, if that makes sense.
Fucking not even ridiculously old, man. Now you're really making me feel old. Imagine, imagine what Tom Parsons must be thinking if he listens to this right
Isn't
now. He'd
that
be like,
crazy though?
fuck
Because
off,
Tom,
Jarryd.
Tom came into it so much later. He's probably here at my house now. He's about to turn up soon, but
Is he?
yeah. But it's like, yeah, he's. It does blow my mind because like he came into it later into Best Whip, but then he's way older. He's as old as Twitch. It's like, not saying that's old, but it's like he's definitely older. And so it's kind of funny. It's like, not sorry, Steve, if you get offended, but
I was thinking more about them boys as well. They'll be like, fuck off.
have you pushed 30 yet, or where are you at?
Have I pushed,
Oh,
mate?
sorry,
I'm
30,
30.
sorry, 40. Sorry.
Oh, no, not yet. I'm close enough, though. I'm late 30s. 37 this year, I think.
So you're still pretty young though.
Yeah.
It's like
The mind
like
is.
Tom we were talking about age on the weekend. Tom is exactly 10 years older than me. Not to the day, but in years. Twitch is 10 years older than me. And Jeremy McGrath is 20 years older than me.
Far out.
He's
That's
born,
crazy, isn't it?
they're born 81. McGrath was born 71. And I'm 91.
No way. No way.
It must be like that. What's that?
Is Tom really only 3 years older than me? Man, he's looking rougher. He's only 3 years older than me. Oh, the poor guy. I thought he was way older.
No, he turns 40 this year. So Twitch turns 40 this year in November, and Tom Parsons, I think, is later in the year as well.
Oh, well, I hope I don't upset Tom by saying that.
Nah.
He's sick.
He's so
actually, with best whips, what I was wondering, obviously everyone's going to ask you about winning best whip and blah, blah, blah. What I want to know is you are actually completely dead upside down. It looks like a backflip. Are you ready to take that to a full barrel roll? Or have you done it? Or
nah, but
is this a secret?
Nah, I seen someone. Who was I watching the other day? Oh, mental banking now. One of the snowmobile guys up north was doing like barrel rolls. Like I see them doing barrel rolls all the time on snowmobiles, and
Yep.
I don't know if it's because of the track system and like the gyros of the wheels that they're able to do it. And I was like, man, I don't know. I've got some ideas in my head about maybe tires and things like that might be different, that might make that trick work. And just some some tips that I might have, but I don't know. It's a weird one. I reckon I've seen some guys back in the day be pretty damn close to a barrel roll. I don't know if it was like, man, it was like some of the Euro guys, like not Pages, maybe
Halo Galp had like a massive under.
He did. Did Villa? Did Villa have one?
Oh, Villa had a massive underflip.
Yeah, and that was almost a barrel roll. So it's like it's like nowadays. It's like I love seeing people like, dude, like be so sick to do a 360, like a real 360. It'd be so sick to see someone do a real 360. I'm like, you guys haven't seen like Tom Pages or like Luke Ackerman?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, are you that oblivious to like Luke Ackerman? Like, are you kidding me? Like you really think that like that trick hasn't been done, and that trick has been done a lot of times, and there's a guy that can do it consistently right now. Like, I get it, like the Nate Adams Bilko 360. In the time, they were pretty legit. Bilko and them, Travis, they've all done some pretty legit 360s.
Yeah, exactly.
But they were never like consistent. Like they were like had done one here and there or a few here and there, but they were never like Luke Ackerman. You know what I mean? Like to me, Luke Ackerman is a straight BMX or mountain bike style 360 on a moto. You know, so
he just muscles that thing around. Like the dude just fucking turns it, and like he's massive. I don't know if it's just because of his body. Whatever, but he gets that 360 around.
I've never seen anyone turn the bars back the other way while halfway
just
through
for 360.
Fun. Just for fun.
Yeah, and just looks over and he's like, I just did it.
Like, so he's done it. Like he's done a 360. Like the 360 has been done. It's done. It's stamped. It's done. It's been done. So to me, it's not. No matter who does it from now on, it's been done. But the barrel roll, I think it may have been done. Like to me, those videos and of what I've seen in the past, I think it's been done. Could it be done a little different? Some different style maybe, but I still kind of feel like it's kind of been done. Like it's like funny. Like we were looking at like a video the other day. One of the boys posted, I think it was Colby Raha posted, and it was a guy in 1991 on an RM80 doing a backflip. And that dude was the very first person to do a backflip on a motorcycle. He was a pro BMX rider, and he did a backflip. But no one ever heard about that. No one's seen it.
No way.
That same dude was the first person to do a quarter pipe on a moto. He rode a skateboard, big air quarter pipe, like half pipe, on a moto and aired it on an RM80, the same bike, the same dude. And
No way.
and it's like, no one knew about it. They're only talking about it now. Like,
I didn't know about
yeah,
it.
in 1991, this pro BMX rider was the very dude. You got to watch the video. Go to Colby's Instagram. The guy's helmet falls off on the first attempt. Like he done a backflip on a moto on a wood ramp too, and then you hear like, it's just like kind of annoys me, but it's like everyone loves him, and don't get me wrong. When he was his thing, like when he was the deal, he was the deal. Carey Hart, yeah, he did the very first backflipping competition, but like the people that he's around, like the influence, he just like because he was such a big name and so famous, he literally took away from everyone else. Like a week or two before Carey Hart did a backflip in the competition, I think it was Caleb Wyatt or somebody, like a guy did it to a mulch pile a week before. The guy never got spoken of. He's never been put out there. His story's never really been told. And he was the first person to backflip a full-size bike. Mind you,
Forgotten.
10 years before, a guy did it on an RM80. Those guys never got nothing, like because they weren't dating Pink or they weren't someone super famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like bullshit. It's like complete bullshit. Don't get me wrong. Carey Hart did it in competition. He was the first one, and that was amazing. Like that time, it was like, whoa, what the heck? But if you had known about the two people that did it before him, would it have been different? You know what I mean? It would have been way different. And like, it's just crazy to think like that there's people that have done that trick before and have just never had any recognition for what they had done, and they were the first people ever to do a backflip.
And the big deal is who's the first one to do it. And Travis was trying it, and a couple others were obviously trying it, and no one really thought they were going to get it. And it had already been done. Oh, man. I'm looking through Colby's Instagram right now. I can't find it. I don't know where it is, if it's in his feed or maybe it's Reels or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to keep searching. I'm going to have to keep looking through.
I thought he posted a video of it. Where did he put it?
Maybe it was on stories or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Gonna have to check it out though.
Oh,
a job for another day. Maybe when we get off this call, I'll do my research, because I need to know about that now. Like, I need to find the guy that did it. Like, and if he was a pro BMX rider, then he's obviously going to have a name. So
dude, I want to find this thing, because here we are. All right.
No way.
Dude, I've got this. I'm sending it to you.
Oh, yeah, sweet. Right, I'm waiting.
Oh.
Where is he?
Just looking up your... Here we are. I'm going to send it to you in messages on Instagram. So it'll be in your Instagram messages.
Here we go.
Have you got it?
Oh, whoa. Yeah, I do. Oh.
What?
What the... Fuck off.
You see his helmet?
No way. No way. Jose Yanez pulling the actual first backflip on a dirt bike back in 1991. He also did the first backflip on a BMX bike. Shout out, early 2000s BMX.
Isn't that gnarly?
That is so gnarly. His helmet just flies off on that first crash. That is so crazy. Dude, and it's full timber. And full timber set up, timber up ramp, timber landing. Oh, flat as hell.
Insane.
That's so crazy.
I reckon if you went back through Colby's Instagram like freaking deep, like super deep, he would have the post about the guy on the Suzuki just getting aired out on the quarter pipe.
Well, man, if hopefully it's the same dude, then maybe I can find that through there. I'll just do a bit of a search on what's his name again? Jose Yanez. There you go. Man, we're learning something. I did not expect to get schooled today. That was...
Yeah, dude,
You've blown my mind.
Dude, I'm about to send you the first.
No way.
Yeah, watch this.
No
I found it.
way.
This is the first ever air on a quarter pipe. Check this out. This is not video. This is photo.
No way. Is it the same dude?
I think it's the same dude.
It looks like it.
It has to be.
RM80. Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't that nuts?
Man. What was that? Oh, Colby Rahat, Nitro World Games official practice today. Man, I didn't see that. I missed that post. I'm usually pretty onto these things, but man, you have educated me today.
So this actually might be a different dude. Because I'm seeing a name called Bob Cole on a Suzuki. But
okay. Oh yeah.
Wait.
Can't remember Bob Cole on a Suzuki, seen pics of him riding a Honda 80.
That's not the same name. So that might be a different dude. But even saying that, if that dude's talking about another dude doing shit like that, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. And no one knew.
Yeah.
No one knew. Man, you are full of info today. That was fuck. That's crazy. You've blown my mind. There you go. And yeah.
Yeah, so
and the people that come and gone, and there's Carey Hart claiming it 10 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't care if it's an 80 or what it is. Like,
that
doesn't matter.
No one thought it was possible until that day happened, until Carey Hart did it. Yeah.
Wait, this is saying, I'm reading something here. Where in the hell did this come from? So, okay, so no, it is him. It is him. Wait, it is him. So it says, this guy said, Hillsack, Joe Yanez, I can't believe this. This is. He did the first backflip. So that Joe Yanez did the
Jose.
Him and Bob were the first backflips on the 80, ramp to ramp in 91. So Bob Cole and Joe.
Wow.
They both did it in 91. Two people did it. Not just one, two.
Get the fuck out.
Neither really got credit for doing the backflip dirt bike.
Holy shit. Just call Jarryd McNeil when you need a history lesson.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, mate.
I ask a lot of questions for a reason. Nah.
Yeah. You probably get yourself in a lot of trouble too, I bet.
I do. I always, you know that. I always get myself in trouble. They always call me Mick Questions. It's like, man, I just try taking as much as I can.
Man, that's awesome. How much time have you got? Because I haven't even got started. We're already an hour and 38 into this thing.
We're going.
We're going for it because I wanted to get into the free... Like, we haven't even got into the cool stuff yet. Because I wanted to talk to you about diggers. That was really the reason why I wanted to talk to you. And we've been talking about dirt bikes the whole damn time. Far out.
Dirt diggers.
Mate, you are... Well, we can start on dirt diggers. We can just start on diggers in general because basically you're working with Cat. You're working with Caterpillar now. Like, that is any kid's dream right there. How in the world did you end up doing that?
Honestly, it's super hard, but Cat is not easy to get a deal or like to work with in general. It's quite hard. So I have a sponsor of mine, Steel Wrist, that I'm a brand ambassador for, and which is that 360 tilt attachment. Long story short, I got to do a show with Nitro Circus, and the guys from Steel Wrist wanted to come out and see the show. So basically, went to a Nitro Circus show, and the whole crew was from Steel Wrist was there. I got them tickets and everything, and I met a sales rep, and that sales rep worked for Caterpillar. So he put in some words for me, and kind of got to go. Like, I was lucky enough to take my dad out to Tanaha, which is like the proving grounds, testing grounds where they test all the heavy equipment. But then they also have a training facility where they train operators, mechanics, kind of run them through equipment. It's like a whole big training complex. And so I got to take my dad there through a connection that I had, and I got to meet those guys. And kind of one thing led to another. Basically, working with them put me in touch with certain people in marketing and things like that. At the end of the day, I'd love to get a sponsorship from them. At the moment, I'm just working with them, working on like some creative video stuff that I've done with them, and just trying to move my way up the ladder to try and get a sponsorship. But I've had some really cool projects. Like last year, at the very start of COVID, around this Con Expo, which is a big construction expo,
Yeah, that's huge.
it's huge. I got to do a lot of stuff with Caterpillar around that event, and actually got to build. It's basically my dream show. But one of the guys from Caterpillar at Tanaha came to me with an idea about building a track and building it in front of a live crowd. So basically, built a live, but moved 3,000 tons of dirt in an hour with the biggest mining trucks and loaders all the way down to a skid steer excavator. And we moved 3,000 tons of dirt and basically built a track from dead scratch. And from that, we made basically I would be out there with 12 other operators operating, but the crowd doesn't know. They know what we're building, but not that I'm out there. And basically come back from building the course, pull out the back, jump on my dirt bike, and come flying out into the track and put on a show for them. And that was probably the coolest thing ever, to be able to operate a piece of equipment in a show and then go out and actually show the crowd how it works on a dirt bike. Like, that's a dream of mine. Like, that's the best dream I've ever had. Like, it came true. So it was pretty sick.
Man, the crazy thing is, I've watched the official video, which looked awesome. Then I found, like, just somebody must have filmed it from the crowd and they stuck it up. And it's about 20 minutes. And so for 20 minutes, you're just watching machines going back and forward. And there's like the wheel loader pulling dirt out of the hill. Like, it's basically pulling out a car every time it digs in. Like, there's that much dirt in it.
Is it the 994K?
Yeah, I think that was the one.
Yeah. It's the biggest loader they make.
It was pulling dirt out. Then there was like maybe 4, 5, 6 dump trucks, mining dump trucks, like not little ones, but mining dump trucks, just two dumps, and that's a landing already done. And as I was watching the video, I realized that half of the machines in the video weren't even moving. Like, they were just there for looks. Just to sit there. Just for looks. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, there's stuff coming and going, and, like switching out machines. So one would get parked up and then they'd use another one. And then there was like ones, just on display, like to look cool on, like, just feature. And, it's pretty sweet. Like, it was a pretty big deal. It was pretty badass.
They were confident they were going to build a motocross track in 1 hour if they didn't use all of those machines flat out.
I mean, we had 1 hour, and like, I went there a couple of months before, and basically we went out, we kind of got a design on paper that we wanted. Then 12 operators, me and 12 operators went out, built the course that we wanted, and then I left, went home, and they brought out their people with drones to GPS it. So basically, like in the video, if you watch it on YouTube, the machines have all GPS technology in them. So it's like all grade control. So all the jumps were built exactly the same every time, like pretty close to exactly the same. So they're in the exact same position and they're pretty much molded exactly the same. I just had to come through and do the final grade on them with the skid steer to make them exactly how I wanted them. But the gaps on every jump, the height on every jump, everything was the exact same, in the same exact location, like identical. And we built that 4 different times, plus the first time that we built it so they could GPS it. But
No
basically,
way.
basically they would GPS it with drones, take that drone footage or what they had, like with their special drone that takes like measurements, right? And they would 3D map it into a program and put that in the equipment. So the bulldozers, excavators, graders, they all had GPS technology that was literally helping them build the jump.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Because I was just talking to, you remember Rocket from Red Bull Dirt Diggers?
Yep.
Who was the dozer driver.
Yep.
He just started a new job today and just sent me through a video of him sitting in, I think it's like a little D5 or something like that.
Yep.
And he's like, it's full GPS. He's like,
You just
all I
drive
have to
forward.
do. Yeah, he goes, I just have to go forward and back. This thing does everything. And I was like, really? Like maybe that's what Jarryd was talking about.
No, that's
like
what
this
I was
kind of
using.
stuff.
Yeah, that's what we were using. Exactly that.
Holy
The blade would
crap.
just shape it out exactly how you wanted it.
So this was a question I had for Rocket. He didn't know yet because he only just started this job today, like just on building a car park and a road and something like that.
Yep.
So he's in a dozer. If you're driving along in a dozer and it's all GPS marked, when you put the blade down and it catches like something a bit harder, it hits a soft spot and it bites in. What happens when you bite into a different type of dirt? Does it automatically
Dude, it doesn't.
stop it? Does it doesn't bite in?
Nah, it doesn't, because when you push with a dozer and when it bites in, it's because you've put it that little too far. The computer.
Okay.
So like if you're going down a bit of a hill and you put the blade in, it starts going down further, right?
Yeah.
So it already cuts grade from the start. So it's already cutting that grade the whole time. It's not like us trying to repair, like, when you dig in too deep and you have to pull it back and you kind of back up and you start again.
Yep.
It's already pulled the perfect grade. So the tracks are always flat on that grade. So there's so it's just like constantly doing it. Now even saying that, like the soil we're with is like that we're working with is clay, but then it had big rocks in it. And dude,
I could see that.
it didn't bother it. It just pushes it. Like it. Yeah, it's weird.
That's
Yeah.
fucking gnarly how good technology
Dude,
is.
like the road grader, the big blade that's on like that really long 6-wheeled type thing.
Yeah.
They normally do all the roads. And when I was at Cat last or 2 weeks ago, I went back out to say good day, but they were just showing me the GPS on a road grader, how that one works, which they use that same thing in the show, but I just never had enough time to sit there and look at how it works.
Yeah.
And they did a cul-de-sac, right, at the end of a road.
Yeah.
They were out of dirt. They were doing a set for a school that they were doing next week. And so they had to make a cul-de-sac out of dirt. And all the driver has to do is drive the machine in a circle. And the blade will go up and down. But I don't know if you know, but a road grader blade can actually slide across, like out further and in.
Yep.
So if you're driving and you're kind of getting further away from it and you're turning too sharp, the blade will go all the way out to the line on the GPS, exactly where it needs to be the whole time.
Holy crap.
And you're not even touching anything, dude. It follows an imaginary line exactly how the computer is, and the blade will always stay at that height, at that pitch, at that length out, no matter what.
Man, that is insane.
Yeah. Obviously, if you were like 20 feet off the mark, the blade couldn't reach all the way. But, you have to be within 5 feet or whatever of that for the blade to make those big movements. But it just stays there. Like it, dude, honestly, one day in the future, I'm stating it now, Supercross I will say, I don't even know if we'll be here or not still on Earth, but you know, as far as Supercross, one day if it's still going, we'll probably be racing electric bikes. But the tracks are probably going to be built with this technology that we were playing with, and we were the first people to play with it. So it's going to be pretty sick. I guarantee in the future there's going to be computerized machines building a track exactly the same. Like, you know, they'll take the skid steers, they'll take all the equipment out there, and the thing will be perfect built one day.
Probably, and you don't even need anyone to drive it.
Yeah,
Like,
you
it'll
want
just
it.
do it.
Yep.
Man.
Like it's gonna get gnarly. Like the stuff we were playing with was insane. Like I was driving in an excavator from a joystick control pack that was at my waist. Like,
really?
yeah, just like digging.
Whoa.
Just digging dirt. Like digging.
Just sitting on your deck chair, got your earplugs in, and you're just joysticking it.
Driving a 20-ton excavator, just digging a trench.
Far out.
We were in Las Vegas at ConExpo, driving an excavator in a simulator type seat, but a real excavator that was in Tucson, Arizona.
No way.
Yeah, like a 8 or 7 hour drive or whatever, or 6 hour drive or whatever away. I was driving a bulldozer I drove a bulldozer that was like halfway across America in a building inside a big shed in Peoria where Caterpillar's from. I drove a bulldozer in a shed. I drove a loader, an articulated loader in another place, in another area, in another deal. And I drove an excavator in another place, in another area of America, all from these controllers. Like,
man,
just sitting there watching a big screen, and it just shows you live view of you operating it, and you would be doing it all from hours and hours away. You don't even have to be in the vicinity of the machine.
That is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I don't even do video interviews for this podcast because my internet is so fucking bad. I can't even get voice and like audio and video out and back in at the same time. You're driving a fucking dozer.
Dude, they were driving it. There's a big I think it's Buma or something. It's a big expo in, I think it's in Germany actually. Like Zeppelin Cat and all them, they have like big booths at it, but it's like a massive expo in Europe. And so it's the same as ConExpo in Vegas, but it's in Europe. They were driving a bulldozer that's in Tucson, a Caterpillar over here, from Germany.
No way.
Yeah, from Germany.
Well, that must be where all the internet is, because I don't have any at my house. So I don't know where they did that.
Isn't that crazy though? Like they were driving a bulldozer in America from Germany.
That's so ridiculous. I did an interview the other day with Javier, and there was like a 4-second delay between every sentence that I said and he said. Like it took me a day just to edit everything to get the... Yeah, like the delay is horrible. This is pretty good with you.
And I'm out in the boonies. I live out of town, which is weird because Javier lives in town.
That's crazy.
You think his service would be good, but...
to be honest, I'd say half of it's my internet because it's just such an issue here. Yep. Oh, man. Well, coming back to the diggers, though, you were talking about the GPS and stuff like that. Do you think, if you said you were using that stuff now, they're not using that technology to build a Supercross track right now? Like, let's say the Supercross is on every weekend right now. They're not using GPS?
No, not at all.
No. Okay.
No, that's all just like... Yeah, that's
by feel.
Yeah, that's guys by feel, by measurements. Like they mark measurements and that. But as far as GPS, no.
Okay. The other part of that video, the Con Expo video that you did, you were talking about, and I like this part. You were talking about the blue collar workers.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, because that is one thing. Like, let's say growing up, like, my old man told me, just get out of here and go to university and get an education and just get off the farm because there's no money here. And he was right. There was no money in dairy farming, especially in Queensland, because it's too dry.
Yeah.
Probably money down south. But you were talking about the blue collar workers, and I just wanted to get your opinion, like just elaborate on your feelings of that, because man, if you're looking for something to do, like if it's about making a living or let's say earning money, I was at uni for 6.5 years. I didn't earn $1 at uni. And then you got to go and earn it later. But if you're doing a blue collar job, driving a digger, something like that, you're outside having fun in a fucking cool machine.
Yeah.
And that's something you're trying to push right now, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it's like I never want to be in a sky-rise city building because it just sucks. So, and that's where I feel like most colleges push people is to go to the city. And obviously, being a country boy, construction. Like if I'm going to be in the city, I'm going to be working in construction. Which, as long as I'm in a machine, I don't care the environment around me, but you're not going to put me in an office at a desk with a computer. It's just, I don't think it will fly. But you never know. Things could change. Who knows? I may pick up a computer one day and think that that's the cool thing to do. But right now, no. With as far as getting involved with like that kind of stuff, I suppose that the closest thing for me will be computers and grade control, like GPS technology. That's something I will have to learn if I'm going in that way eventually. But it's construction, so it's something that I'd be passionate about and I'd want to learn. But as far as, I mean, for me, looking at what I see, Australia is a lot different. You say that your dad wanted you to go to college, and I think in Australia, it's not as bad as in America where kids are pushed to go to college. Like obviously you were, but not pushed to do it, but you were told like go to college or whatever. And in Australia, I feel like we're not like that. I feel like it's, we have the option. Our parents say, hey, do you think you should go to college? Like it might be an option, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like most Aussie parents aren't like, you're going to college. You have to go to college. You need to get a degree. You need to be smart. You don't need to go do that shitty job, blah, 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 And in America, America's bad with that. Like, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, no, it definitely, I'm sure Dad only said that because he knew where I was headed, because he knew I would work harder to dodge work on the farm. So he probably thought, best you just go to uni, boy, because you're not fucking, you're not cut out for milking cows, because I hated milking cows. Like, if I could drive diggers all day, I would have done it. But if I had to milk cows, nope, no way.
Exactly. And that's it. Yeah. So for me, like, I don't know, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is buildings aren't going to be built. Houses aren't going to be on housing pads. Cows aren't going to walk in fields. People aren't going to eat food. And if you don't want to do those jobs, then good luck surviving, because those jobs is what makes this world run. People hate construction. Well, guess what, buddy? Your house is built by contractors. The pad that your house sits on is built by a piece of earth moving equipment. The groceries that you get in the store come from a farm. And for me, growing up, and from what I see is, farming, the government in Australia turned our farming to crap. They ruined it. They ruined dairy farming. They're ruining farming in general. They're all city people that went to college. They have no idea about where their food came from, how it grows, how it gets to the supermarket, and they just don't give a shit about us. And for me, my biggest thing is trying to get kids and young people in, girls, boys, whatever it is, into construction, into farming, into the blue collar job, because at the end of the day, they're the people that make the world run. They're the people that put their ass on the line to make food, to build houses, to do all that stuff that everyone uses, but they just talk shit on us. They call us uneducated, all of this crap. But it's like, at the end of the day, without us, with the blue collar, you got nothing. So
that's it.
For me in writing, I think I can use writing as a tool to build a fan base. And eventually when I move in construction and that, maybe people will get bored, but I hope I can make it fun for people to want to come and watch me move into a different area an area that I'm passionate about, and an area that I see is key to the world functioning, how it functions. So, yeah, I guess that's what, for me, it's just like, farming, the blue collar, working. I love working hard. I love being in that environment. And I feel like the people in that environment are exactly like us. They, especially in the motorcycle world, or the outdoor kind of action sports or off-road world, we all kind of are in that. We're all in construction and farming, building. That's kind of our group of people. So, yeah, I guess I'm just using my marketing, my following and stuff to be able to push and show kids that you can do these things, that they are fun, that they are a good job, that you can make good money. Like, I watch people go to college, come out of college with, $200,000 debt, and then they're working at McDonald's. Like, what the fuck is that? That's not a life. You've gone and got a degree in some massive degree, and it's meant to be really good for you. And then you get out and you're working at some crappy ass job that, I mean, at the end of the day, you have a job, so that's amazing. But what degree did that get you? Like, your parents told you should go to college and now you're working at McDonald's? Like, really? Like, what about you leave school, jump in construction, make 200 grand a year, have a house, have a family, have all these nice things, no student debt. You might have a loan for your house, you might be in debt, but at least you've got something to show for, not going to college, working for the next 10 years to pay off your student debt. Like, what life is that? Like, why would you want your kid set up like that? If your kid chooses to go that route and wants to be a doctor or something like that, that's awesome. But you should never push. I feel like here they push that. Like, I feel like, especially in America, they push that on kids. And I think that's one of the biggest downfalls here, is that they think that, like, that's an education and that's a living, and that you have to go to college and fight over a bunch of people for one job. It's just,
Yeah,
I don't like it. I'm not into it.
That definitely sounds like the wrong mentality,
Yeah,
to be honest. Like,
it is.
and well, I guess there's a couple of points there, because one, you have used your platform, because like, I'm just watching you dig stuff on Instagram and I'm just like, fuck yeah, it gets me excited. So
Yeah.
what I have found myself doing since we were at Dirt Diggers almost 2 years ago now,
Yeah.
I came back here to where I'm living and renting from Fabian, and he's got the tiniest little Bobcat and a little Bobcat excavator.
Yeah.
So like the skid steer and an excavator. And honestly, they're kids' toys, like a wheelbarrow and a shovel, and put a motor on it. That's about what you've got.
Yeah.
But I just got back from there and I just felt so much better, like, just to get in the machine, just dick around. Like, it'll take me 2 hours to like mold the smallest dirt jump, but I'm like, that feels good. So I'll be sitting here doing my work on my laptop all day long in the office.
Yep.
And then I'll get to like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I'm like, right, I've had enough of this shit. I'm going to ride my push bike up to the jumps, up to the track, and I'm just going to do 2 hours in the machine, and I'll finish that. And I'm like, yeah, that was a good day, actually. Like, I'm in the machine having fun. And so,
like, if you hadn't have gone in the machines, you would have been like, oh, fuck, that was a weird day at work. Just
same
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I love what I do. I have the best job. But
do you think it's because, like, you like, I guess this is how I'll look at it. Like, I see you would spend a lot of time on the computer. Like, you'd spend a lot of time. And
mate, 12 hours a day minimum.
Yeah. And that's you just trying to organize like an event, right?
Yeah.
Now, the accomplishment at the end of that is the event on the day when it's finished, right? So, like, you're organizing a show or sponsor, like, all this stuff, all the build up, boom, show happens. Oh, you kick back and you're like, we killed it, Rach. Like, we just put this show together. We're done, right? That was amazing. That's the accomplishment, right? But at the end of every day building up to that, it's not an accomplishment. Like, oh, I just got an email done and he responded. All right, we're moving to the next step. You might get a couple of exciting emails where it's moving forward, but that's the excitement. When you build a jump, you look at a flat piece of ground, you stack the dirt, you mold the dirt, and then you sit back and you're like, man, I did a nice job at that. That was a good day's work. Then you go
ride it.
Then you go ride it. And you're like, dude, that was a sick day's work. One, I built the jump I dreamed of, and I built it. Now I've just jumped it like that. Not to say that that's going to be your work, because, but in a construction site atmosphere too, you lay a pipe and all that stuff, and you're like, man, I did it. Like, look back, look at the car park I just finished. Look at the channel I just done. Look at, like, you get to mold dirt, and like, there's just a good satisfaction with that, right?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like I said, I'll go up there, I'll finish off the jump. Like just the other day, like at the bottom of it's pretty much the biggest jump that we've got on the track.
Yeah.
But where they had it, it's going uphill. And so you're landing, and then it's, you're still kind of stepping up the whole way. And the water, of course, always sits there. It was never done with proper drainage. And again, I'm in a toy. Like, this thing can't fucking move anything. So I guess I did 3 hours. I couldn't see a thing. The sun had already gone down. It started snowing. And I was just there with this little tiny light. And I'm like, yeah, I think I've got a good angle on here. I reckon the water should be able to actually drain off. And this should be fine. I haven't actually gone back to see it. It's been a couple of days now. I want to see it in daylight to see if I completely screwed this thing up or not. But yeah, like, I'm riding my bike home. I'm like, that was fucking cool. I'm in the, it's pitch black now. It's freezing cold. But it was a good day. Like, I just had a good day on the machine.
Yeah, it's sick. I love it. I think it's the funnest part. Like, just, I'm just like, I'm glad that, like, as a young kid, that Dad got me. Obviously, as a young kid, I played with the toys. So the first opportunity I got to drive a tractor or an excavator, I was, super young. So, like, I've been driving an excavator since I was 8 years old. So it's like,
nice.
It's one of the things. I love toy tractors. I still collect them now to this day. I'm 30 years old, but it's like, it's just like something I'm super passionate about. And I'm so glad that my dad, growing up on the farm, let me use them at a young age. Cause it's like, now I'm older, it's like, that's what I want to do after riding. That's what I'm doing now while riding. It's like, that's it. That's life to me. Like, that's it. Like, I'm living the dream, whether it's riding bikes or moving dirt,
You've got the best of both worlds. Actually, just a quick one before we leave that. I do remember being 8 years old, jumping on the tractor on the farm. I remember it was hooked up to the PTO for the dip, and I was just 8. I just turned it on. I thought I was going to go for a drive, and off I went. But I completely fucked the dip pump because it was just hooked up to the PTO. I didn't even think of that. I remember Dad just belted me around the back of the head.
Because it had it wasn't pumping water.
No. It wasn't pumping water. It was just hooked up.
Yeah. So you were just driving around with it.
I was just going to go for a drive, and
it's just pumping nothing. Just the bearings were just overheated.
Done, absolutely done. And I was scared of the tractor for about a year after that, because I thought, if I
kick up the arse,
I'm gonna have to check everything before I drive this thing off, or I'm gonna get belted for it. Anyway, moving on. We were talking about, we only touched on it quickly, but Red Bull Dirt Diggers over here in Germany. You came over for that one, and I want to talk about the diggers again for that.
Yeah.
But something kind of cool, and this is more for the freestyle riders who are listening, or the ones who want to become a pro rider. There was just something different when I finally could get you to come, because there was a little issue there. Yeah. But anyway, sponsors aside, we managed to get you over, and you said, I need to send my suspension by mail. And I was like, oh, okay. Most guys would fly in with their suspension. So you booked it completely separate. Doing something like that, I would shit my pants knowing that I just sent my suspension away and I wasn't there to pick it up. Is that something you do all the time for shows?
Yeah, because LAX and like basically like since September 11 and all that crap that went down, all the flying in America has just gotten harder and harder. Like its security's gnarly. Whatever you travel with has just gotten gnarlier. It really, really sucks. And being a professional athlete traveling around the world all the time with suspension, you would think, like, oh, you're a professional athlete. It's okay. Like you could fly with it. But they try and make it up that it's explosive and all this other stuff when nitrogen actually puts out fires and is not really a massive flammable liquid. But they don't understand what we fly with and what we do as a profession. Like they think that our job riding motorcycles isn't even a professional sport and that we don't even make money doing it. But
Mate, that's
they're
what
just,
the German woman
yeah,
said when I went for my
yeah.
visa. She denied my visa because she said riding a motorbike was a hobby, not a job. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
continue.
yeah, so you know exactly. So they don't take us serious when we've even got bigger balls than them. But yeah, it's just like it's stupid. But yeah, we can't fly with suspension. So LAX is one of the worst airports in the world, and that one is one of the reasons why it's the worst airport in the world is because TSA won't let us fly with any suspension. So basically, yeah, we have to send it off. It sucks too because it's like, is it going to go missing? Is it going to make it there on time? Blah, blah, blah. You just never know, but that's the gamble we have to make. Now it's like it's funny though, because like as soon as Red Bull Dirt Diggers was over, I put my suspension in my bag and I brought it home with me. Flew back to
Yeah,
LAX. Like it's just so stupid.
exactly.
Like
You
I
can
flew back
fly.
to I can fly to LAX as long as I'm getting off the plane at LAX. Because if you try and do a stopover at LAX to somewhere else, they'll take it out.
Yep.
They're just idiots. But yeah, so they just make it hard. But yeah, I mean that worked out good. My suspension turned up for that. I'm pretty sure. So
Oh yeah, well that was it's just one little thing that I'm sure most people don't think of, and
yeah,
like I said, you're the only person who I've had to book for a show that has sent their suspension, and it actually arrived before you. I think
yeah,
we had it in the hotel before you even got there, which was pretty cool.
it's
But
crazy.
anyway, getting off of that, the best part about Dirt Diggers, again, we were digging dirt and whatever else. But I remember because you only got there pretty late on, like
I think it was like
compared to
2 days,
everyone
a
else.
couple of days before. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And as soon as you got to that event, you're like, right, what machine can I drive? And then you turned up and we had a Cat 308D. And you're like, that's mine. I've got that at home.
yeah. I
And up
gave,
until that, sorry?
I gave the boys a rundown on that. They didn't even know like the how because on that's a brand new machine. So that was like I remember giving some of the guys a rundown for like auto steer. So like the one that you can switch the button to take it off the foot pedals and put it onto a joystick steer. I remember
Well,
that was
that's the thing because Squibby and Rocket and I think even Simon, like they had lost their shit with that machine. They're like, this thing is so jerky, it doesn't work. And like, they're trying to go down, pull the arm in or something like that. And it was just so jerky, the dirt would fly out of the bucket. I jumped in. I'm not an excavator driver by any means, but I was like, "Ooh, that is very touchy." And then you've flown in, jumped in. You're like, "Oh yeah, no, there's just some settings. Like if we had some time and we
yeah.
could change the settings." And like until that point, that was like the outcast machine. No one wanted to sit in it, and you're like, "Oh no, that's awesome. That one."
Yeah. Definitely, that was sick, and then the big one was sick. Like, dude, that was fun. Like, that was such a sick weekend. Like, it was cool because like that almost like I got to do two really cool projects really close to each other. Like, I got to do the Caterpillar stuff back here a few months later, or a bit later, and then I also got to do that a few months before, and same thing. Like, got to just there's a machine. All right. I was in it till like, I remember like half the dudes have gone home to the hotel and I was still out there working at 9 o'clock at night with
Yeah,
the track crew.
exactly.
And they're all back there at the hotel sleeping and hanging out. And here's me out there with the track crew still moving dirt. But I just love doing it. I think it's the sickest thing about riding is being able to build and shape dirt and then go and ride that. So, Yeah, like when I finally was able to get to that contest and everything came through and they would let me ride it. It was like that was a dream come true, which was weird, dude. Like that's another story. Like going to my first introduction to Nitro Circus was like I had Matty Lewis and Joel Brown crash out, and then I got a spot, right? So
Yeah,
talking about that, well, we were lined up for Tom Parsons because
that's
he was
right.
the
It
rider,
was.
and Tom Parsons was talking to me about that event leading up to it, like, dude, it'd be sick if you were there as well. It'd be so cool, blah blah
Mate,
blah. Right?
you are.
So then we go to. I'm not even on the cards at that point. I'm just dreaming about trying to get there, and then we go to X Games in Norway, and Tom crashed in Best Whip. Well, Red Bull Dirt Diggers was 2 weeks later, and Tom, I think, separated his shoulder or something or did some damage.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yep.
and like basically he gave me his spot, really. Like, well, there was a bit of a weird spot that Bierman may have been coming back for it, but then he had a Red Bull mountain bike event somewhere else or something else. Actually, no.
No, he was supposed to film with Robbie Madison in LA. I
Oh,
think they
that's
were
what it
going to
was.
shut the
Yeah,
city
that's what it
down.
was. That's right. Yeah, it was that
Yeah.
one. So then they were doing that. So then Tom crashed. So then it gave me a spot in Dirt Diggers, which was like maybe my whole life I've just been waiting for those people to give me the spot. I don't know, but it was kind of funny. But yeah, I ended up getting in on that, and that was a dream come true to be able to do an event like that and be a part of it. One, participate in it, and then to operate and do that stuff in there as well was cool.
Man, that's awesome to hear
Yeah.
because even you being there, you were actually part of history as well as the track crew like
Yeah.
Squibby, Rocket,
Yeah.
Simon, and oh no, what's the other guy's name? I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Peter. Peter. I can't forget Peter because he was doing all the job we didn't want to do. So
Yeah.
he was moving so much dirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you actually shaped that dirt jump with the boys that Luke Ackerman did the double backflip on from dirt.
Yeah.
Like until that point, like I think it was fucking steep, but it wasn't fucking steep. It needed to be fucking
Yeah.
steep. And you just got in there and helped shape it bigger, higher, steeper. And Luke pulled around that double flip. I'm not going to say easy, but he got it around.
Dude, he did. Like even saying that, like like we were all riding that. Like I hadn't really flipped too much different stuff. Like I flipped a bit of different stuff over my time, but like once the session got started, it was pretty sick that like we were all backflipping that and like having a good time. And like, I don't know, it was just that was a really cool jump. That was something that stood out for me for that whole contest was like, like I was a bit nervous about flipping it. One, because it was just like you could over rotate it so easy. And it was sick. Like everyone just sessioning it and then seeing some of the really cool stuff go down on that, like some big tricks, like the double flip. And I think Pat did like a pretty sweet ruler flip on it. And that was,
Yeah.
it was like, man, that's pretty cool. Pretty sick.
Yeah. No, it was an awesome event and it pretty much showed what I was hoping it would, and that's
Yeah.
guys like yourself coming out of the woodwork to build the jumps and then ride them. And we saw what happened. It just looked freaking amazing.
Yep.
How did it feel to you? Let's say we got to the end of that last day, win, draw, or loss. How did it feel?
That was sick. I thought that was a cool contest. Like, it's like you didn't know what to expect. You didn't know who was going to do what or where, and like just having like the flow line one, the freestyle park one, and then the big jumps area. Like just having the different areas and the whole vibe. I guess just like being in Germany, riding something else, like riding not just Nitro Circus shows, being there riding something different. Like just that was awesome. Like I've always gone to Europe and rode in stadiums and like that environment, and then just to be able to go to Europe for something completely different, like that was one of my funnest trips to Europe for sure.
Man, it was a fucking good time for me. I mean, it was stressful, but at the end of it, actually, it's like you said, you know, that was leading up to that. Everything I was doing was just like 12-hour days on a laptop
Yeah,
just to get to that last jump. Like when that last jump was done and we called it, I was just like,
that's
I'm
it.
done. Like we're
Success.
done. This thing, yeah, this
Yeah.
thing is finished. Like, whew. Like it was crazy.
We need more. We need to do more.
Well, mate, we've spoken about it.
Yeah.
Definitely we've spoken about it a fair bit, and that was the plan last year until COVID
And
completely screwed things up.
and
But let's see,
honestly,
hopefully this year.
this is the thing too. Like COVID, that's it. That's what we need now. Like we need those
Exactly.
events. And I was thinking of that, like when you spoke about RFDMX a lot, like earlier in the show, it's like RFDMX were like way ahead of the game. Could you imagine if RFDMX was around right now?
Man, at the time,
Like,
the guy like Joel Brown was doing tricks then that probably would have got him an X Games medal at least, or
right?
maybe fourth or fifth.
But even
Like,
that, it's like that event is like what we need broadcasting now.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like they were running a backyard event. Like when I did Fight Club at my house last year, that was my whole thing. I'm like, this is like RFDMX did, backyard contest. This is sick. This is where it's at. You know what I mean? Like they were like ahead of the game. Maybe not in the media side of things, like the video side, but as far as having a contest like by the riders for the riders, that kind of like vibe was like they were ahead. It was pretty sick.
To be honest, I'd say they were actually on top of it with the media because it was Russell Brothers doing it and
Yeah,
Aussie
true.
Adrenaline. They were doing it, but
At that
I
time,
would say,
at that time they were probably ahead of it for sure.
and I would say the problem laid in the fact that there was X Fighters, X Games,
Right.
and let's
So
say
much
no, the jumps
competition.
were going.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for us, like I remember treating that like I was trying to win X Games. Like I
Yeah.
remember, the one that really sticks out was RFD up in, I think it was Rockhampton, and Clinton was there, Joel Brown, and of course everyone was there. But I was up against Joel in the semi-final, and I don't know why I thought I was going to try and beat him. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do the biggest underflip, and I did. I just completely pancaked the thing, landed completely sideways, and I'm like, why did I even think I needed to do that? Like we're riding on gravelly, rocky, shitty dirt in the middle of nowhere just for our mates and
Yeah, for
Russell
like
Brothers
a
and
few
Aussie
hundred,
Adrenaline Films.
probably like a $2,000 prize money, maybe.
No way.
Not even.
Oh no, maybe it was 1,000. Like it was 50.
It was like
Everybody put in $50.
that's what I was gonna say. That was like when everyone was just chipping in a couple of bucks. Like
Yeah, $50 entry
yeah,
fee, and
yeah,
you take home the winnings basically. And that was X Games to us. So, and that's what we want to like. That's where I'd love to take it now. And it's funny you're saying it because it's exactly what I've been planning on.
yeah. That'd be
And we just need
perfect.
to make it happen.
It'd be
It's
sick.
just a process.
I
So.
feel like now's the right time too, because this weekend that we just did riding with the boys as a massive group. Honestly, like for so long, from when I first came to America to now, like I thought it was like this is the mecca. This is where all the freestylers are. And then I've lived here for 10 years, and I'm like, where are the freestylers? What's going on here? Like, where did the guys go in the first 4 years? Like the first 4 years of being here, everyone was here. And then it just started getting smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where I'm riding in my backyard wondering when I'm going to ever have people over. And then like last week, it was like this weekend just gone. I was like, damn, we're all still here.
Everyone's there, just
yeah.
And you're more connected now than you've ever been in human history.
Yeah.
And you haven't been catching up and riding.
Yeah. So it was like sweet to catch up and ride with a bunch of people. And it kind of shows like maybe we could do things like that more. Maybe we could do that backyard vibe. Maybe, it's cool.
That's where, I mean, honestly, that's where I'm going with it. That's where I think I could help and have guys like you to be involved to make those things happen. I think that's how it has to happen, to be honest. Like, that's where freestyle needs to go.
Yeah,
or at least
forward.
for now. At least in the middle of COVID. Like,
it's
something. That's all you can do.
Yep.
But Hey, let's see. Mate, we've been on here for well over 2 hours. This is the longest interview I've ever done.
Dude, I
for
watched
this.
the battery on this go from 100% to 7.
No way. Oh, then we better wrap this up.
We're in the red zone now on the laptop.
Fuck, we are exactly. We're totally in the red zone, mate. Before we go, let's finish this thing off. You ride both of them, 2-stroke or 4-stroke.
Oh, dude, that's a hard question.
Have you got 7% of battery to get through this answer or not?
I don't know. Like, dude, I don't know. Because I ride everything, dude. I have every bike. Like, I have a 125, I have a 252 stroke, I have a 254 stroke, I have 450s. I honestly don't even know, like, the if I want to go out to the track and I want to rip around on the 125 because I want to have fun and I want to just send it and, like, get gnarly, like, just, like, scrubbing shit or just, like, motoing hard, I'll take the 125 or the 250F. So, like, there's two bikes right there that, like, I have fun riding the tracks on. If I'm going out the sand dunes or free riding and that, I'll either pick the 252 stroke or the 450, mainly the 450 in the sand dunes, but I'll mix it up with the hills, like the clay hills. I'll ride 250 two-stroke or 450. But freestyle, 252 stroke all the way. 450 is too powerful for the ramps for me. I don't like it. Like, it's just like 130 pounds flying through the air with a 450 just goes way too far off the ramp for no revs. So I love moving my bike around. Like, the 252 stroke's so flickable. I just feel so at home on that bike. I love that bike. And I would say, I don't know, like, it's so hard. I can't pick one or the other because, like, now I think of, like, how much fun I have on the 4-stroke in certain areas and how much I have fun on the 2-stroke in certain areas. But I'm going to go with the 2-stroke for the 2-stroke fans because that's what they like. They like to see me on the 2-stroke, and who doesn't love the smell of a 2-stroke? So, yeah, I'll pick the 2-stroke.
Legend. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
I better let you go because you're probably down to 3% now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome. It's definitely been too long. I would have rather done this in person, but since I don't know when we'll catch up next, at least we can do it this way.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Thanks heaps for having me on. I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, before you go, I did a little bit of research on the backflip, which has blown me away in the middle of this podcast, and I've got some news for you. It doesn't appear to be fake news. Like I said, I had heard rumors years and years and years ago about this, but I never saw the footage, and so it slipped to the back of my mind, or probably to be more truthful, I just forgot about it. So here we go. This is the storyline that I have found so far. The first rider to ever do the backflip on a motorcycle and landed it and rode away was Jose Yanez in 1991. It was on an RM80, and not only did he do it and land it, he built a full setup out of wood to make it happen. So the takeoff and landing, all built out of timber, no mulch, no sand, not even loose dirt. Okay, it wasn't huge by any measure, but he did what everyone thought was impossible at the time. What's even crazier is Jose Yanez was also the first rider to do the backflip on a BMX. So he has not only redefined his actual sport that he was in, BMX, with the backflip, he crossed over and did it on a dirt bike and landed the flip and didn't get any credit whatsoever. Then in 1993, 2 years later, Bob Cole, who was also a pro BMX rider, he also did the backflip on a dirt bike, which was again another 80cc. This time it was the Honda CR80, and he did a whole bunch of them apparently. It wasn't just the one-off, he was doing heaps of them. There was even a photo of someone airing out a BMX quarter pipe on an 80cc, which I think Colby Raha uploaded back in 2019, and now it's starting to make sense. It was a yellow 80cc. So I don't know if it was Jose Yanez from the Suzuki he was riding, although many people on that were commenting that maybe it was actually Bob Cole. So I'm not sure. That one's a little blurry at the moment. Then, of course, it wasn't until the year 2000 at Gravity Games where Carey Hart went for it on a CR250 full-size dirt bike. That we all know. And then there are the two sides of whether he landed it or not, as he did get the rotation, but he washed out on impact. So where does that leave everything in the history books? Was Carey Hart merely the first person to attempt it in a proper competition? Do you believe that he landed it, or do you say he crashed it on impact? Was Caleb Wyatt then the first person to land a backflip on a full-size dirt bike because he rode away from it? It kind of doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but it's definitely an interesting point in the evolution of not just FMX, action sports or motocross, but for someone to backflip a motorcycle in general is still so damn gnarly. So you might be saying to yourself, this is awesome, but why the hell didn't I know anything about this? That I don't know. But what Carey Hart did at Gravity Games 2000 is still one of the most iconic things I have ever seen. I still to this day get goosebumps when I watch that video. I have goosebumps talking about it now. And it propelled our sport into the stratosphere from that point. But I did find that a guy named Jason Ryan is actually working on a documentary based on the first guy to land the motorcycle backflip, Jose Yanez, and he created an Indiegogo and a GoFundMe page. And it looks like they're a fair way off their target of what they need to produce a video, but perhaps they can make it in the near future. But the YouTube videos look awesome, and that's just them talking about the funding for a movie which would be titled Out of the Loop. The movie itself, I'm sure, would be an epic watch and definitely something to be added to our history of all action sports and motorcycling. Jose Yanez is apparently still riding. He's 60 years old, still backflipping a BMX by the look of the videos I saw from Jason Ryan. And as he said, now is the time to make this video while he's still riding. So if you'd like to help, to contribute, to make that documentary happen, I'll put a link in the show notes and you can go straight there. I'll also share it on Facebook as well. So check out the Riders Lounge Facebook and you can find so much more out there also. So there you go. Let me know what you think about this. I'd be really interested to hear from you guys. Your thoughts. Does it count on the 80cc on a kid's bike? Are you spewing that the top guys knew about it or potentially knew about it? Coming from somebody else's documentary, I don't know, but this is what's being said, that they knew about it and didn't bother to change the narrative throughout the 20 years of FMX since Carey Hart did it. Do you think Jose Yanez deserves being inducted into some sporting hall of fame and get the recognition of what he did? Because like Jarryd McNeil, when he said it in the middle of this podcast and blew my mind, it's bullshit that we didn't know about it. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you can show your support for this podcast channel by hanging around for just a couple of more minutes, because I want to let you know that without the help from the Rothaus Brewery in Germany by partnering with me to create this podcast, I never would have even heard about this, and possibly you may have never heard about this either. So as you can imagine, I'll continue researching this story and try and reach out to that filmmaker of this potential new documentary, see if he can shed some more light on it. And you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be having a sneaky Tannen's Apfel beer as I'm doing my research. It almost feels like I'm back at uni, having a beer while I'm doing my assignment, only this time I actually want to do the research. In the show notes, I'll put a link in and you can find out where to find a Tannen's Apfel beer in a country near you. Hopefully it's your country. I also want to thank Lakes Networking for building the new ridersloungepodcast.com website. That's where you can find me, ridersloungepodcast.com. They're based in Australia for a majority of their work, but with Lakes Security going international and one of their web developers actually being based in Finland, it actually kind of doesn't matter where they are in the world at Lakes or where you are in the world. If you're after a website, big or small, private, or even for major business, which is actually kind of their normal clients, I'll put in a link as well into the show notes. You can go there and ask and see if they can build a website for you as well. I also want to thank Javier Villegas and Adam Jones for the music in this Riders Lounge podcast. And I also want to thank Pat Bowden for the logo design, because it's so good to have FMX riders actually involved in trying to make this podcast work with me, and they've provided what they can do. Actually, in the show notes, I will put in links if you want to find out anything about Jarryd McNeil, some of the stories we've spoken about with his life, machinery, or anything else of interest. And you can also link straight to the Riders Lounge merch store, where you can choose your favorite designs, where I've actually got some specifically designed shirts and merch and mugs and whatever on the riders and on some guests and even some fans of this podcast. So you can check that out as well in the show notes. If you have any questions or comments, please don't be scared to jump on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, the website. Let me know what you want to hear. Which FMX riders you want to hear from next? Any other sports you want to get covered, or motocross, or anything really. I'm always happy to hear from you guys, because that's what keeps me motivated to keep this going. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you soon. And trust me, I even know I've been talking way too much on this, so I'll go and quench my thirst with a nice cold beer. Catch you later.